Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gather around as we just saw an ass whooping from the Georgia Bulldogs, 51-13. Here we are at the Postgame Overreaction show presented by UGAsports.com. I'm your host, Paul Maharry, joined as always by Jason Butt. Ryan Nabulsi will be here once he gets home from Coach Donnan's house, and we appreciate all of you guys that are watching. You know what to do. If you're new, you don't, but we'll tell you. If you've been here a while, you know what to do. Let us know where you're watching us from. We always like shouting you guys out on the show. And then if you so dare, Jason, there is a link in the description. You will be joined into the show in a virtual waiting room. We'll make sure your camera's working for you. Or if you just want to come on with audio, we can do that too. Either way, we want to hear from you. You also can use the comment box on YouTube and put your questions out there. We'll be going strong tonight. Last week's episode, Jason, went 3.5 hours. So hoping we're not going that long tonight, but hey, who knows, man? Hopefully everybody's having some fun and we can get with that. So Jason, before I get over to, well, you go ahead, Jason. I'll shout these folks out
Sure.
while you know what we do, get the initial thoughts. So I'll be throwing these folks up on the screen. Let us know what your initial thoughts were, Jason.
Yes, sir. Like you said, an ass whooping. It was from start to finish. I think this is what a lot of folks expected to see from this Georgia team from week one. And I tell you what, I saw it last week. You saw it last week. A lot of the people that hopped on, at least when I was on the show, saw it last week, that the identity of this team needed to be Carson Beck in the passing game. What did they do to start this game? It was Carson Beck in the passing game. I think they had one run on the first drive. I remember at one point it was something, they were in the teens with pass attempts and still in the low single digits and rushes. It was very much getting Beck in rhythm to dictate the tempo and the flow of this game. And then from there, the run game was very complimentary. I thought it was funny watching the game where Kirby Smart, both in-game interviews, shouted out the run game as helping him. It seems like that's going to be, or I should say, saying that the run game was doing great. I think they, before the final drive, they were at less than 5 yards to carry at that point too. The run game has to be a complementary piece. I think that's something that we all have seen throughout the season. The offensive line strength is pass protection. Carson Beck had tons of time against Kentucky, carved them up, 389 yards, 4 touchdowns. The guy's in the Heisman race. I'm telling you. I've been saying this since week one, since the preseason, that this guy would be in the Heisman race. Brock Bowers, though, quite frankly, he should be the leading contender for it, but he's probably not in the national conversation. I don't think there's a better player in college football than Brock Bowers.
No, yeah. Everything you just said is absolutely correct. I'll get to my initial thoughts later. We've got some folks waiting already for us. Let me get James in here. James, what's up, man? Did you have that baby?
We're heading to the hospital at 9 o'clock our time. She's getting induced, so she waited so I could watch the game. So, but she's coming.
Love it.
I'm guessing, yes. You're leaving the house in like an hour 14.
Yeah, so I need to hop on the pod.
Hell yeah, man!
Listen, James, where are you?
I live in San Diego.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Nice. So yeah, man, we'll make it quick for you because you got some pressing things going on. It seems like tonight.
Back, so I got time.
There you go. What initial thoughts? I'm guessing it's a little bit different than last week, right?
Yeah, the same as last week. Kind of where we're talking about, need to pass to set up the run, and it looked like they fully unleashed Carson this week. The only thing I would disagree with Jason is I do think Brock now is in the national discussion for the Heisman. I don't think he'd have a realistic chance to win it, but I think he's in that conversation now. He may get himself to New York. I was happy with the defense. I guess, if I'm going to nitpick anything, would like to see in the first half a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. Leary did miss a couple shots that I thought could have been easily completed more down the road, but it didn't really show us much that we didn't know. We knew no one was going to out Georgia. But in a month, we have a set of 3 straight games where quarterback runs are going to be in play. But I think this team is going to build to be that shutdown defense, or at least that top tier, not super elite defense that's going to really hold their own while Carson offense light it up.
Andrew Wagner says, James, you got to show your child this legendary footage when they are old enough. Got to make time for the dogs before birth. Man, gotta love it. Got to love it. Also, JT says baby arrives with a 23-game win streak. So I'm just saying that baby messes up against Vanderbilt next week. We're gonna have words, James. So is it a boy, girl? What's coming?
Girl.
It's a girl.
It's gonna be Georgia. If you can believe it.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. But hey, James, I got 12 other people waiting, but wanted to get you on here because I wanted to find out about the baby.
Yeah.
So
last thing I have is there's no more Bobo slander, but I did hear that he was the race tonight. So I don't know if that's true or not.
You said you went in and out there. You said you heard he was what?
The hitting coach for the Braves tonight got lost.
Okay. All right. That's enough, James. I'm guessing you're not a Braves fan.
I'm a diehard Braves fan. I need a pod to go get some takes off on them because it's house on them. But
well, tomorrow night, James, tomorrow you'll be having your hands full with your baby girl, but we'll have the All Things Georgia call-in show. We will discuss the Braves tomorrow night, myself, Andy, and Eddie from Ackworth. So we'll be here doing that. So join us tomorrow night, man.
All right.
Much love to you. God bless for your wife. Safe pregnancy and everything. Or what is it? Safe labor.
Delivery.
Yeah, delivery. Thanks, Jason. Thanks.
Yeah. Take care, James.
You could have had my back a little sooner than that, Jason, but that's fine. No big deal.
Yeah, you're the host. Why don't you do your own thing?
Brock and Carson in the ring for the Heisman. Yeah. So I tweeted out kind of, I don't know, side of my mouth, if you will, after the first drive. Hey, folks are talking. Carson Beck for Heisman. Yo, he balled out today, man. He looks good. He looks good. There cannot be any more Beck and Bobo slander on this channel. At least not right now, right? They've dug themselves out of a pretty fine hole there. Got Namaste Bear saying, loving my Philly dogs. I think he's up in Philly there. Somebody wanted us to shout him out. Let's see. Can you please say, hi, Addison? I live in Athens. Hi, Addison. I don't live in Athens. I'm glad you live there. Miss Mary's here. Everybody straighten out. Straighten up. Straighten up. And Andy, I see you. I've got one other guy here real quick, Andy. What are you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. What? I just found this hat.
Why are we have a Tuck Fexus hat on?
Did they say they wanted Georgia?
I think they did earlier this year. They did say they wanted Georgia. Yeah.
Same team that lost to Oklahoma today?
I think it is the same team that lost to Oklahoma. Is it, Jason? It's the same team, right?
It is the same team.
The same team? All right. Yeah. Well, we're just driving around. We saw some vultures hanging around dumpsters, and my son just picked this hat up. Anthony, come out here. Say hi to the folks. Come here. Say what's up.
What's up?
That's right. Anthony, say Tuck Fexus.
Tuck Fexus.
All right. See, that way you're not demonetized, Paul.
Yeah. You can make money.
You can make money. He just said that.
Good seeing you guys.
Yeah. Do it again. Do it again. Double up. That's right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Georgia.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Yeah, Tuck Fexus. Anyway, my wife is a Longhorn grad, so I get to. Oh, yeah. She went to bed a long time ago. Beautiful night.
So what about these dogs, though, Anthony?
51?
Yeah, 50 burger.
So Kentucky top 15 defense in the country. Yeah. And we didn't even throw to Brock Bowers in the first two series tonight. Or maybe we did one time.
In the second series, he got the ball a couple times.
He got the ball one time.
Yeah, but first series didn't go to Brock at all.
You guys were 100% correct, Paul. No more Beck, no more Bobo slander.
Can't do it.
That game was awesome. And Carson put on a show. A couple key issues. Marcus Royce-Jackson, best game of his career as a Georgia Bulldog.
Yep.
And the defense is growing up. I mean, we gave up. First of all, I didn't want to come on the show and maybe come in too fast and and maybe just touch the top of the keyboard, and just that way I get a penalty call to help assist in a scoring drive for Kentucky.
Right.
Because that was bullshit, dude. Come on. That was such crap. That first scoring drive they had where Warren Brinson like breathed on the guy.
Whatever. Oh, yeah. They called the roughing.
That was tough.
Penalty. That was terrible.
Yeah. But
also, what was up with the guy that just knocked Van Pran down, just WWE style? That kid's a monster.
Oh, well, 52 is the Cade Mays of Kentucky, just less talented. So.
Does his dad have all of his fingers? Do you know?
I mean, he probably does now, but when he gets back home, he probably won't anymore. So, but it's not going to matter. And, Kentucky's going to go 8-4, which is fine, or maybe 7-5. But they had a good run, and every time they run into a real team, and Kirby gives all the credit to a physical football team with Mark Stoops. Kirby just out Kirby's everybody. You could say you want to be physical. You say you want to do this. And Brock got dinged up, and they had to tighten his calf up. And Van Pran goes out. But you can't out Georgia. You just cannot do it. And they had no threat of the passing game. Didn't Ray Davis run for 5,000 yards last week?
I think it was 5,002 against Florida.
Okay. Yeah. So we were supposed to be afraid of him.
Yeah.
Right? What did he have tonight?
He had I was just about to tell you there, Ant-Man. He had 15 attempts for 59 yards, 3.9 average. Here's the big thing, though. This is what was the difference. Big, huge difference. His long of the whole night was 11 yards. Only had one rush that was a first down on its own.
Kirby needs to fire the defensive staff. That's just unacceptable.
I'd probably get rid of I wouldn't even know if I'd let Schumann into the post game, to be honest with you.
If he came in here right now, I would just delete that. That's just horseshit.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Yeah. Well, I'm hanging up. I'm gonna go be a Cal fan. So I love you guys.
Hey, see you, Ant.
Take care. Hey, I'm a Cal fan too. I bet on them +7.
Andrew Wagner does say Davis has a great story, though. He does, man.
That was the first time I'd heard about it on the broadcast.
I heard about
tonight.
it. I think they did it last week against Florida, and unfortunately for Ray Davis, they're going once ESPN finds a story like this where it's like a hardship story, came out of the mud, against all odds. They just play the hell out of it. And I'm sure Ray Davis is like, cool, man, I appreciate you guys shouting me out, but this is the second game in a row. God knows there's probably been more, and there's going to be more moving forward. He's made it out of it. We get it. Don't highlight that part. ESPN does that through the draft, man. They'll be like, this kid's mom was a frog and dad was a toad, and somehow he was able to become a football player. I'm not taking it away from Ray Davis at all. What I'm saying is don't spread this man's life story out on every one of his games. Highlight what he's good at on the field. I'm sure that he doesn't like that as much either. Offensive line for Georgia, huge today. I think Carson's jersey, they don't even have to wash it for next week against Vanderbilt, Jason.
No, I mean, all the time in the world. And if Georgia's offensive line keeps protecting him like that, like I said all along, he's going to put up some major numbers. And then especially when you look at games where he's going to have to play the fourth quarter, you're talking about the 400s that I expect him to get into. I just think that for this team to win, I'll just keep reiterating it. It has to go through him. He is the offense. He's driving the engine. It's not the run game like in years past. It is definitely Carson Beck, and it's his offense right now.
And no, Andrew said, sorry, I didn't realize ESPN is beating a dead horse. Not your fault at all. And I'm not saying they shouldn't highlight that story for Ray Davis. It's just I'm sure he doesn't like that. Anyways, Andy Stowe, what's up, man? How you living?
Hey, well, I don't know. I'm halfway good and halfway devastated after watching that Braves game. That was terrible.
Look,
That's why you got a series, though.
That's why it's a series.
I put the jersey on, the Hank
I saw
Aaron
that.
one.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Look,
but,
I got the Atlanta Braves world champs on sweater, so I still believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one game.
Yeah, that just. I mean, you wasted Spencer Strider's good start.
That part's true.
What did Eddie say? This first time we got shut out since May. I mean, that's bad. But hey, at least the Dogs look great. After the first week, Jason, do you remember when me and Paul both said we got to open this quarterback competition up? You got to get he may not be the guy.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, trust me, I remember.
I said I was full on it, and then the South Carolina game. I think it was Eddie that was like, he was like Carson Beck grew up. I was like, I'm still not sold. And then last week, after he came back in that Auburn game, I was like, we might have something here. And then, I mean, he's completely different. I mean, you can tell in 5 weeks he is getting really good. I mean, he's running that offense, and really, I guess we did run pretty decent, but it's almost like we were just running to run. I mean, because it was,
right.
Well, they could have continued just putting the ball through the air.
Yeah, it was almost like they couldn't be stopped. I mean, like if they were passing the ball every play, I don't think they could have stopped him. I mean, he looks good. His accuracy is getting a lot better. I think he's just more. Comfortable. He knows the offense, and I think it's slowing down for him. He looks really good. I mean, his stats. I mean, obviously he's only got 11 touchdowns. Caleb Williams has 21 or something, but it's like he might get in that race. You may be onto something. He's looking.
Yeah, good. The thing with how he's progressed through the season so far, it just seems like Bobo too is more comfortable calling the game with him as the quarterback, and
it does.
They have grown kind of at the same time, more comfortable with this, and it really did seem like we all saw it last week, right? In the second half, really the whole game, the run game wasn't there. They turned to Carson Beck late. He came up with some clutch throws. It seemed like, okay, they had something there that they finally felt connected, and the confidence, the familiarity with each other, it all just connected tonight. And it's the last couple of weeks. This is the kind of performance I was really starting to feel like I would expect. And now I think this is going to be the norm. I mean, you don't try to force the run game the way they were in the first half last week, the rest of the season, and maybe it does come together. Maybe kind of like last year, the run game did come on strong, but the identity of this team right now is its receivers. It's ridiculous tight end who's the best player in college football, and then a quarterback who can make all those throws anywhere on the field. And so that's why I think he's going to have some ridiculous numbers. I think he's going to be on the number one team, at least going into the SEC championship. We'll see what happens in that game. The only thing with Caleb Williams is if they lose twice,
he's out.
Then I mean, kind of like what we've said on this show before. A lot of the voters don't like to do back-to-back Heismans, and that's true. There's only been one in the history of the award. I really think he can be there, and I've thought this obviously since the summer, really.
Yeah, and you see the line they're so good in pass blocking, and then you got guys like Marcus Rosemy-Jackson looks the best he's ever looked, and then Ra is looking like he's taking that next step, and even with Ladd still trying to get back from the injury, so he's only getting limited playing time, and I mean they're so deep. I don't know this. I mean this is I think what we're going to get. Like I really thought they would blow them out, but I said it would be I said 34-17, but not close. I thought we would just sort of coast, but no, it wasn't even close. Like they could do nothing against them.
Yes, this is the first week Georgia's actually covered the spread.
Yes.
And I picked them to not cover the spread. I thought Kentucky would, I think we hyped them up. I think everybody kind of hyped up Kentucky. That Florida game helped hype up Kentucky as well. Mm-hmm. They were doing things that, we thought Georgia wasn't going to be able to handle. We heard they had a great defensive line, which we were a little scared about Georgia's offensive line, right? And Georgia's offensive line stepped up huge, majorly. And, to your point, Andy, Ladd only had to pass to him one time, one target, one catch, 11 yards. You had Brock Bowers again with just an unbelievable game. Dejon Edwards caught 6 passes, which I would I'd love to know the stats if he's even caught 6 throughout the first 5 games. Ra Thomas, the huge touchdown. That was crazy. Rosemary Jackson, 99 yards, a touchdown. Somebody here says, shoot him 556, says we lost our center, though. Van Pran and Mims both out now. No, Van Pran came back. Van Pran is good. Van Pran is good. So, yeah, we don't want to spread a little misinformation there. Van Pran did come back. It was scary, though. It was scary seeing him down the field. That was going to be a huge loss. So glad that he was back.
To go to your receiving, he's had 1 catch this year. Yeah, before tonight's game, he had 1 catch. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So you 6x your receptions for Dejan. Okay, here's a question for you guys. I want to get to Basin, and then I see Eddie, and then Andy. Maybe come back on a little later once we get a little slowed down. Once these callers start, come hang out with us later. Question for both of you guys though: was this a product of just, hey, we're just going to throw the damn ball, and Dejan's going to be your check down guy? If you don't see anything, toss it to him, or is this more of like, hey, now we're seeing him in a Kenny Mack role? Can we see him in that reception type role? Your thoughts? 6 receptions, it's a lot. He only had 1 coming into this game. Is this is this an overreaction to say, hey, he can now be a receiving back, or is this just an anomaly, Jason?
I mean, I don't think it's somewhere in the middle. I mean, all these backs practice this. This was the offense last year. You just had Kenny McIntosh in when you were likely going to have a play outside. The thing with Kenny McIntosh was he would run routes like a receiver in the slot and stuff like that, or would run a wheel route down the field from the running back position. I mean, most of Dejan's catches were either out in the flat, an extension of the run game, or check down. I mean, I think just any running back on the team can do that for the most part. So, and not to mention right now with all the injuries, he's been the guy. So he's getting all those reps in practice. Milton's just now coming back. Dylan Bell's obviously kind of in that hybrid role, doing both positions. So to me, it's very much, I just go back to it. It's Carson Beck. It's the Carson Beck show. That's the offense. And if that's the case, it's going to be this kind of open NFL style offense. And yeah, your running back's going to get the check down throws, especially if he's open, if the deep shot's not there right away.
Yeah, and that's what my point. I was going to say with Kendall Milton, because he had eight rushes for 47 yards, and so it's like now that you're starting to get guys healthy, maybe they feel more comfortable with using Dejan Edwards as more of that, that dual role guy, because you can rely on the other backs. I mean, because if Kendall Milton can get 5.9 a carry, and then you got Dylan Bell that can do both, I mean you got some guys that you can depend on. So it's So I think it's just
there was probably and who's to say, maybe Dejan catches 5 balls the rest of the season. But to your point, I think that helps out a lot, being able to at least have another running back, a true scholarship running back. Be able to rely on him and Kendall Milton. And then now you can maybe flex out Dejan, start hitting him in the passing game, which again just makes this offense even more dangerous than it was coming into this. So Andy, let me get Basin here and come back around once we slow down a little bit, bro.
Sounds good. See y'all.
All right, man. Basin J, what's up, man?
Gentlemen, everybody well and happy tonight?
We are.
Yes, sir.
We are.
Good. I missed the first quarter of this game.
That's unfortunate.
First quarter that Georgia plays the whole season, and I'm on the road trying to bring my son back. Long story short, had to go pick him up today and bring him out. We're on vacation, so pull into the Hooters parking lot, go inside, sit down, look up, and it's 14-0.
Yeah.
So I was a little
quick
upset
too
about that, but maybe that's maybe I need to just skip the first quarter, and that'll help us.
You're probably the problem. Yeah. You can only watch the second, third, and fourth from now on. Hate to tell you
how that works next few weeks. We'll try that out.
I see now. If you do it against Vandy next week, they might do it again, but you're gonna think it's you, and it's not. So
that's it. So,
what your initial thoughts on the game, Basin?
I was just all the Bobo haters can suck it. All the Carson Beck haters can suck it.
Ooh. Suck it twice.
What I saw was beautiful, and it's what we've been waiting to see, right?
Yeah.
Quarterback stand tall in the pocket, throw it down the field, hit some long shots. It's what we've wanted since Beck showed up, right? He's got that NFL quarterback size, got the arm, so it was a beautiful thing to see what little bit I did get to watch of it. So,
hey, well, you got to see what's 51 minus 14, Jason? Quick maths. 37?
37. Yep.
Yeah,
You got
37.
to see 37 points. So
you got to see Brock Bowers with touchdown and most of his catches. Yeah.
Yeah. Brock Bowers. I saw the Oscar Delp touchdown, which I thought that was a really good throw because it looked like he was really Beck was flat-footed letting that one go.
What if anything, Basin, concerns you off this game? Is there anything?
There really wasn't. I was a little concerned with I've been concerned all year with the defensive line depth, not necessarily the number of players we had, but just the experience. And again, which this is not news. Everybody else has talked about it. We don't have that monster in the middle that we've had the last 3 years in a row. So other than that, it still looked like when they put the second string in there, they did okay, but it still looked like all the tackles came from the linebackers instead of the defensive line moving stuff up. But outside of that, I really didn't have anything else to complain about. I mean, that's, I'm really nitpicking to get down that far. Right.
So, yeah, I think you're right with the defensive line pressure. It wasn't there, but I think also what we have to realize, Jason and Basin, is this is a completely different defensive line than the years past. We've been almost, catered to with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt. Even if you want to count Nolan Smith as kind of an edge guy, there's been some crazy good talent come through Georgia, and that doesn't take away from this team. It's just I think we're holding them to a higher standard, which is almost unattainable, right? With these last two defenses, it's tough to hold these guys to that.
Yeah, I couldn't argue with that. I felt all season Nolan Smith was probably the player we missed the most.
Yeah,
off this defense, just because it was so great at setting the edge, right? Nobody got to the outside. Nolan Smith just held his side down, and that was another thing. Keely Ringo in 2021, not just his coverage ability, but every time a wide receiver would block him, he would take him to the sideline, and he would cut that far edge off. You know what I mean? So nobody got around to get that little pick play type big run stuff, and that's something we've been missing as well, is keeping people, bottled up. And Nolan Smith was really the missing ingredient that I've seen this year that kind of had me worried, but wasn't too bad tonight.
Yeah, no, I think it was all right. Basin, I'm gonna let you go though, man. People just keep hopping in, man. So I want to get to as many people as I can. But glad you're able to get your son, go to Hooters. I mean, that's a hell of a time.
It's a good evening, fellas. It's a good evening.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all take care. Go Dogs.
All right, brother. See ya.
Take care.
Hey, Eddie, we'll get to you in just a second. I got a new guy here. What's up, Jason? You're gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, when it comes to the defense, putting up a game like today, when an offense scores 21 that quick, that is a defense's best friend, because there's no pressure. You're able to kind of play a little looser, able to have those edge guys, try to get to the quarterback a little quicker. And I think that's kind of the recipe for this team. If you got to start fast, you got to put points up, and I think the best way to do that is through this passing game right now.
Foster Moss says, Paul, go put some coffee in the Keurig. We're up till 3 a.m. Foster, you can kiss my whole ass if I'm here at 3 a.m. Hell no, brother. We will be here for a while, though. And I made a sandwich, guys. I'm ready. We're here.
Late night in it.
We're here for the long haul, guys. Okay. I didn't have any food last week. I was getting a little hangry, Jason.
I won't be up till 3.
Yeah,
I'll be knocked out.
I get it. Yeah. All Some of us do work around here, Jason.
Hardly work, but
it's you don't have to add adjectives to it. I got a new guy here though, not new to the comment section, but he's new in the show. Ducati 1098. That is one of it's going great. That's one of, if not the scariest zoom background pictures I've ever seen.
Is that The Shining?
Room 237.
I don't watch movies.
That's where basically the entire Kentucky football team is at right now.
So for us that don't know what this is, what is this?
So this is The Shining. This is a hallway in The Shining, from the movie The Shining. And
that's like a scary movie, right?
Yeah, you've never seen The Shining, Paul?
It's a horror film.
I've heard of it. No, I don't watch scary movies, dude.
Yeah.
It's a horror film. Stanley Kubrick. But anyways, a lot of really nasty stuff happens in this room right here, room 237. And that's where we put the Kentucky Wildcats tonight.
Okay, I'm glad that I'm really glad that that it had some backstory, because I thought like you picked some random ass like Motel 6 background. I was like, man, you do you, brother. But that's one of the weirdest ones I've seen. JT says you're on the Titanic, but apparently you're on the Shining. People are asking where the twins are. I'm guessing that's part of the movie as well.
Yeah, the twins.
Yeah,
that's yeah. You got to see the movie. Well, you say you don't.
I don't watch, dude.
I'm not a horror film guy either, but The Shining's a classic.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I don't watch any. No, I'm not watching anything like that at all. Period. So I'll take your word on it. Great movie, I guess. Ducati. I saw over in the watch along that you said, "Hey, man, I'm going to call into the show." You've been commenting for forever, so we appreciate you calling in.
Thanks for having me. I've been a fan for a long time, and I mean I've been a Dawg fan since.
A Dawg fan. Okay, I was gonna say like if you're a fan, that's kind of weird. Like, but don't hype me up too much. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody's a fan of you.
I'm kidding.
Individually, come on.
Yeah. So the first game I went to was actually Dooley's last game at Sanford Stadium against I guess Georgia Tech game, 1988.
Damn.
But just paying attention. The golf years, I've been through a lot of tough years,
Yeah, you have.
So I'm having a good time right now. Like this is unbelievable. Like I don't know. A lot of people don't understand. Like this is.
They really don't
right now.
Yeah, 51-13 for a game that you were favored by 14. I looked at one point, I think it was after Georgia scored their second touchdown, Ducati, and the live line on this game was 28.5. And we were at my in-laws. They made a nice rib roast, and so we stayed over there until halftime. And he was like, "Look, I might even take that at this point." And I think they covered that as well. Just wow. I don't think. Okay, let me ask you this: were you expecting this? Was this an offense? Was this game plan something you were expecting out of this team at any point or against Kentucky? Where were we at with this?
Yeah, what I was thinking was, so the pick I had was 38-14.
Okay.
That was my pick. But man, we blew that out of the water.
You were closer than I was, so congrats.
It was like I was kind of expecting it, but wow. Like this was okay. We opened it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the guys, man. This was a good game. Great home crowd. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season now. I'm like, we're on it now,
Yeah, there's no team that scares me moving forward after tonight's performance.
I'm looking forward to the Ole Miss game. I think not unlike the Auburn game, Hugh Freeze had a good plan for us and whatnot, but they didn't have the dudes yet. I don't know about Ole Miss, but we'll see. I mean, I think Lane Kiffin's kind of wily. Who knows?
Yeah, they beat Arkansas today 27-20. They've got to play next week. Will be a good they're off next week. The week after they play at Auburn. That'll be kind of a good one to watch where they're at measuring stick wise.
There you go.
Georgia's already played Auburn, so
yep.
I mean, it could.
I think the players are excited about that game too. I think they just kind of want to see what's going on with the Ole Miss too.
Yeah.
From what I've seen with the players' lounge, like some of the players coming on in there and talking about the game, I think.
That's one they're looking forward to. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Joshua Hammond says that background is from the Holiday Inn PCB circa 2001 spring break, and you can't convince me otherwise. That's awesome. No, is there? We've got some folks saying Missouri. I watched that game.
I watched that game. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
no defense for Missouri. Georgia's going to put up a ton of points.
Look, before today, I was like, hey, Missouri could be sneaky. They were sneaky last year. They gave up a ton of points to LSU.
And they're at home. They're at home.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
I don't see it. That could probably I want to say it's probably the hardest game left. I don't believe in Ole Miss, but we'll see. It's either Ole Miss or Mizzou. Is Tennessee a threat at this point?
I think Tennessee's always a threat. It's at Neyland. So.
It's at Neyland, so that's the only thing that could do that.
It's late in the year. I mean, I would say, yeah, sure, it's a threat. But I'm not sold on Milton, obviously. I don't think Milton's not close to what Hooker was last year for them.
Louisville just upset Notre Dame, so Notre Dame is officially done.
Man,
you hate to see it.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
I had so much hope for them beating Ohio State, man. I was like,
yeah.
But no, and then
I've got some other folks I want to get to, Ducati. But
hey, thanks guys. I really appreciate it. And
before you
go,
go,
the comment section.
Of course, I know you will. You're the best. Before you go though, anything from this game still scare you moving forward? Obviously, next week against Vandy, probably not, but you do have to play the Gators in a couple weeks, and that game's always kind of funky in Jacksonville. Anything to overreact to? I guess we're overreacting to positives. We're overreacting to positives right now. Any negatives?
We had a few kind of weird injury things that happened. I was like, oh no. Cedric Van Pran went down, but then he seemed to be okay. And then Brock went down with some weird knee thing, and he's back. But I'm just maybe sit those guys next game. I don't know, like just to, I
don't think they'll have to play too long, at least against Vandy.
Yeah. So, but I mean, bringing Vandy in there for almost the entire fourth quarter, that was awesome to see him get going. Because I like watching him a lot. He's a true dual threat guy, and but other than that, like I'm stoked.
Fully content.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I think that's the way it is. Ducati, man, we appreciate you calling in. Make sure you call in more often, man. We appreciate you in the comments for real. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, see you. We've got some folks calling for this man here. We've got some folks, Jason. Dog. He said, I've eaten my crow on Beck.
Let's hear
Dane
it.
come on here to revise his opinion that Beck can't lead us to a natty. What I'm going to do here. Damn. Somebody else still waiting on Dane. Antoine Simpson, the man, the myth, the legend.
Calling for the guy.
Calling for his head. Dear God.
Oh, goodness.
What do we do? Well, you know what we do? We bring on Eddie from Ackworth and Dane Young. We 4-box this thing like NFL red
quad box.
Hey,
yes,
Dane.
Sir.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Dane. Before we go too crazy, Dane, Eddie, how are you, sir?
I'm good. All I can think about right now is Twins and Red Rum, and Jason knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Red Rum, yeah.
You got to see that movie, Paul.
I'm not watching.
No excuse. No excuse.
I'm not watching the movie. I'm just not doing
ridiculous. Don't be a wussy. I mean, come on. It's an all-timer.
Another one. Dane, come.
I'm here.
Foster
Dane, you got some splaining to do, man.
So these folks, Dane, they want to know, man. You obviously were the one, and was it week one? You and Ben had a very long diatribe back and forth about how Carson wasn't the guy. Gunner probably would be the guy. I'm not. I am just here playing devil's advocate, Dane.
Sure.
because I thought some of your points were very valid. But you spoke them, I didn't, so you got to feel it. Where you at, Dane?
I mean, if Carson Beck plays like that and Georgia's offense plays like that, then yeah, everything I said is wrong. Like that's the case. Can Georgia do that consistently? I have no idea. When the other team has a quarterback that can't throw it downfield accurately, like it helps. But like I'm not gonna poo-poo any of this. Georgia was fantastic tonight. Like that was a championship level performance, and there is nothing to poo-poo. Carson Beck was incredible. There's no complaints on that. Georgia's offense did everything well. It ran the ball well. The offensive line was better than it's been all season. Skill players were making catches that help quarterbacks look better, and Carson Beck made all the throws. Like it was great.
Mike Honcho says Dane's faded off that Hunker vodka.
Yo, you have to
How'd
check
you get
this
a
out.
bottle already? Yeah,
How'd you get the handle going?
Dude, I got connections, right? So this is the new Hunker vodka from ASW, and it's in partnership with Classic City Collective. And so that means that for however much of this that gets sold, some of that gets back to Classic City Collective, which, as you know, supports Georgia NIL opportunities. Did you know, Paul, that another vodka brand that starts with the letter T just donated about $20 million to University of Texas to build their practice facility? So that means if you have another brand of vodka that starts with a T at your tailgate, you're probably a Texas Longhorns fan.
Ooh.
Wow.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Guess that's off the menu for a lot of folks.
So if you're a Georgia tailgater, there you go. Find your
Hey, Dane, along those lines, is there any chance that the NIL money could keep Brock Bowers here next year and say, hey, you're going to be number 10 pick in the NFL draft. You stay here, you're going to make more money. Is that even a possibility?
Caleb Williams?
I mean, is that realistic?
No, but I do think in the future you have to wonder, is there enough money in college football that it competes with certain level of NFL draft picks just to be like, hey, you might have a better chance to make a career living doing it this way.
But is Brock Bowers the kind of kid that may say, I'm staying here because I love Georgia that much? No. Is he that kind of a kid? No?
Nobody's that kind of kid.
I mean, do you think the tight end from Napa is going to be that? Like, not to be like a Javon Bullard might be that, but he wouldn't get paid the same, right?
If you're a top 10 pick, you're not that kid.
That's fair.
Yeah, you got it.
Even Caleb Williams, I know what they said. He's not that kid.
And plus, you have to build toward that second NFL contract, and the longer you stay in college, it's harder to do that.
Yeah, true.
Look, Caleb Williams might be that kid if he's got to go to the Cardinals. I mean,
why? The Cardinals don't look as terrible as they were made out to be at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Look,
NFL teams can turn it around quick. Now, I'm not going to go on a diatribe here. This is Georgia, but real quick, the worst thing about the NFL is coaching. You flip a coach, you can turn your team around.
Can we flip our coach and turn our team around then? Like tomorrow?
They should, yes.
Yeah, I know.
Andrew says, can we package a $30 million NIL deal for Brock? The people are asking. Damn. I wonder what it could be.
He might come back if that's the case.
I wonder what it would have to be realistically, though. Realistically, if they were like,
what would it have to be?
The next step on that though is like some college coach being like, "All right, Travis Kelce, we're gonna find a way to get you eligible. You're coming back."
Yeah, right.
But Georgia's like, "Hey, Brock, you could do something nobody's ever done before. You could win 4 national titles in a row, be all SEC, all American, 4 years in a row."
They'd have to be like, and we'll give you $10 million.
That's what I'm saying. What's the number though?
It would have to be a crazy number.
What's the rookie contract, right? So
but probably more than that. Yeah, that's wild.
Y'all talk to the people. I'll research this.
Yeah. All right. See you, Dane. I don't know if that was Dane leaving or not. He might come back on. He has the ability to come back on if he wants to. But while we do that, we've got another person here, Brandon. Oh, what's up, B? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. God, Carson Beck, what is that? The highest amount of yards for a UGA quarterback in the first half in 20 seasons, y'all. I mean, my God, do you guys know who that was? I don't know who the last quarterback to do that was.
I would assume it was Eric Zier, but 20 years ago?
20.
That's like,
so
that would have been 3.
right?
If it was 2003, it would have been that'd have been David Green. Would David Green have done that though?
It was David Green.
You're right. It was David
was?
Green. It was 20 years ago. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
David Green put up 300 and a half. Wow.
It must have been against New Mexico State or something.
Right.
I mean,
I was there as a little kid when Eric Zier put up like 500 or whatever it was against Southern Miss. I think that's the record that still stands for passing yards in a game.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I wish I could like break down Football Reference like Dave McMahon does, because I could find it within a second. It's going to take me 6 years if I'm trying to look for this. So you guys keep talking. I'll try to find this here. I don't know if I will.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember. Zaire. I mean, that was around the time I was born. But yeah, David Green. The old lefty. That's my childhood quarterback. But yeah, God, so great. I mean, the offense in general. Also, this is a bit understated, but Dejon Edwards was 9 attempts for 54, and also in receiving 6 catches for 51. Wow. So like 100 yards from scrimmage from Dejon. Kendall Milton ran the best he did all year.
Yeah, he looked really good.
Oh yeah,
he looked really good. Yeah,
I guess you could say he's 100% now. Rosemy Jack Saint still doing really good. I liked what he said a couple of weeks ago, because they asked him about his stats. It was his best stat day, and he says, I don't care about stats, I care about winning. And for a receiver, I mean, that's a UGA receiver right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 600 yards of offense, y'all. I mean, what else do you say, man? I love it.
608.
608 to Kentucky's 183. I mean,
I've done a little bit of research here, not to take you off course. I don't know if it was David Green in 2003. He only had 2 games above 300 yards. And the one game I did find against LSU, he played the whole game. So it wouldn't have been like he was in there throwing for the whole game. Wouldn't have been that. Somebody, Jack White, you know what you need to do. Go find me the last quarterback in the last 20 years to throw for 300 yards and a half. Dude, Beck was unstoppable tonight. Just absolutely. When was here's a good question for all three of you. Who was the last quarterback that looked this good for Georgia in a regular season game?
Joe Terry.
I mean, people are gonna maybe clown me for saying this, but Stetson's game against UAB 2 years ago, when everybody was like, well, I want Carson Beck to start, blah, blah, blah. Then everybody was pissed that Stetson was starting, and he tore it up. It was UAB, though. So, I mean, it was like, okay, you could throw the excuse out there, but he actually looked good. And then, of course, later in the year when he became the starter over JT, that's when everything started to slowly change for the guy. But that would be the last time I could say that. But, again, the opponent. So, I mean, I guess it'd be the last time against a legitimate opponent did a UGA quarterback look this good.
But we've watched Carson Beck progressively grow up. I mean, from South Carolina to Auburn to now. And I mean, I told you, Paul, he solidified himself against Auburn last week. He became the man. And today he solidified it again. I mean, and Jason, you said it, the pocket was unbelievable. I mean, you're not going to be able to do that unless your line is giving you the time to do that. But he's got to find the right guy to throw it to, and he's got to find the open guy. And he's drilling the ball right now. And that throw he made to Ra was perfect. The throw he made to Marcus on the first drive where Marcus made that basket catch, that was perfect. That's what you want to see out of your quarterback. He has solidified himself. And, Jason, I thought you were nut for saying he's going to be in New York. I see it now. I see exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah,
I don't think Jacob believed in himself. Like after the second game,
no, I was saying it in the summer. I was saying it on the Sunday show.
He was saying it in the summer.
Been on this train for a minute.
Yeah.
So back.
John Flowers, Grayson Lambert against South Carolina. That's a good call right there.
Dane helped us out here. 8th pick. So Bijan, 8th pick. That's kind of probably where Brock's going to get drafted. 13 mil signing bonus, $5.5 mil for 4 years. So, yeah, you probably have to get Bowers somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 mil to come back. Not going to happen, but, hey, you can dream, right? I'm trying to get through here. A lot of comments, guys. Let me see. Where was it? Grayson Lambert. It's going so fast. John Flowers, Grayson Lambert against USC. That was actually a really –
I think he's – so I think that
he definitely
whatever
does.
completion percentage it was, it's still
does.
tied. I think it's with Geno Smith maybe for the most accurate game in the history of college football. It's so funny.
Hold up. Is Antoine telling the truth here? Georgia Tech with the win against Miami?
No way they pulled it off. Oh, my gosh.
I believe you. I believe
Miami's
you, Antoine. What was
trash.
the final score? That's wild.
I thought Miami was back, just like Texas. That's what we were told.
23-20. Well, my goodness.
Gosh.
Georgia Tech lost to Bowling Green and then beats Miami?
And then, the funny thing is, Bowling Green got shut out today by Miami of Ohio.
Yeah,
like 27-0 or something like that.
You can't make this stuff up. Hey, Jason, I'm gonna bring Radi on so I can relieve you of your duties, my friend. But I appreciate you as always opening up with us.
Absolutely, y'all take care. Y'all have a good one.
All right, brother. And then Eddie and Brandon. I got a couple others waiting, so let me bring them on. Eddie, I'll see you tomorrow. Brandon, as always, appreciate you calling in, my man.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. Take it easy.
All right, dude. Take care. All right, let's bring on the boss man here. Uh-oh.
What? Say something. Say something.
I brought my lunch.
It's too late. Oh, it is 11:30. Do we need to get you some Voss water? Maybe a little.
Look,
little Pellegrino.
Already went to the Gatorade. Got a full Yeti. I think we're ready to go.
I got my fiddler. My fiddler thing is almost empty.
Hey.
Had a little bit after each victory. Georgia 6-0, looking the best they have all season.
Yeah.
The last 6 quarters, second half of Auburn, 4 quarters of this game. This is before the season. I wrote Georgia's going to go 15-0, and you know me, I'm the most Munsonitis glass half empty guy when it comes to Georgia football. I've seen too much heartbreak and just things go sideways for the Georgia football team. But I'm like, look, what people in the program are telling us who are watching summer practice, who watch spring practice, who are watching these guys, they're like looking at the running back room. Again, everybody was healthy back then. Looking at the wide receivers, the 2 transfers you got in. Yeah, you lose A.D. Mitchell, but, you brought in 2 really good guys. Rod Thomas is making plays everywhere. Dominic Lovett looks like a superstar. And you add them to Ladd McConkey. You got your tight ends who are, Brock Bowers and Oscar Delp. And this Lawson Lucky kid, he's the next Brock Bowers. Okay. And look at this offensive line. Your 3 interior guys are the same guys you had last year. And Ernest Green's just a people pusher, and Amaris Mims is a first-round pick. Okay. And this defense, look at this defense. I'm like, fine. So I'm like, I'll go out on a limb. I'll take what the people inside the program are telling me, and I'll write a column or write some pre-camp notes saying Georgia's going 15-0. And I've never said anything like that. I predicted them to go undefeated in the regular season last year, and that's the most Disney-esque I've ever been in my life. And then they're down 14-3 against South Carolina. Like, crap.
Yeah.
They're getting their heads caved in on the road at Auburn. I'm like, Jesus, I'm going to look like such an idiot, which is fine. I mean, hey, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Right.
It wouldn't be the first time. And as we know, Paul's always wrong. But Jesus, today, I mean, the drive, touchdown, punt, touchdown, punt. I mean, field goal, touchdown, field goal. Touchdown, field goal. Hell, everybody looked. This was the team that everybody was telling me about in spring, in summer. This is what all those insiders were seeing, which we haven't seen. So, can they do it again? I mean, well, they'll do it to Vandy, and they'll probably do it to Florida. But Missouri's going to be a little tougher game. But that they should, if they play to their capabilities. And again, you got a quarterback. This is only his 6th game. And he looks like a superstar. Rod Thomas is rounding into form. I need to go back and read my 3-2-1 column. I called a lot of this stuff just because we were being told, man, Kendall's back this week.
Yeah.
Rod Thomas has got it. Look for a deep shot to Arian Smith. Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint is him. Again, when this team plays to its capabilities and they get a little healthy, and again, you're still without Ladd McConkey didn't play a whole lot. But with Javon Bullard back there, how many rushing yards did Ray Davis get?
59.
59.
59 was the number for Big Ray. The big thing, though, like I said earlier, his long of the day was only 11 yards. So what helped him against Florida, he had multiple big play rushing plays.
Florida just shit then. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Florida's
god awful.
Gotta be. And
you can have a bad day.
Yeah, right.
You can. Miami's having a bad day. You know, the Braves had a bad day today. You know, Miami losing Georgia Tech, that's a bad day. Georgia had a bad day on the Plains. Georgia had a bad day when South Carolina came to town. The Auburn game should have been close. You gave them 2 easy touchdowns. 2 quick turnovers. You screwed that up. But Kirby was asking, what did you learn about your team? He's like, we can take a punch and we can give a punch. And I think that they kind of gelled through those struggles, just like Georgia kind of gelled last year for that tight, game against Missouri. So I'm very impressed with this football team.
Foco Loco Dog says 59 yards. That's only 200 shy of what Florida allowed. Actually, I think it was 221. Foco Loco. This guy's been waiting for a while, Roddy. Let's bring him on. Jay
I already tweeted Jay Hyde's on deck, so let's get him in here.
Let's get him in here. Jay Hyde, what's up, man? Can't hear you, brother.
Hey, gentlemen.
There you are.
Hey, yeah. Thanks for so a little backstory. Just relocated to Florida from Georgia. I was up there last weekend with my dad and my uncle. It's probably throwing Bobo under the bus all the time, and come back down to Florida this weekend, and I wasn't here to rub it all in their face.
Which is the best part of football.
Right. So, no, I mean, seeing Beck be able to gain some confidence in those first drives this week was huge, right? So, really good. Even the guys down here, I relocated down here for work, and, got a few Georgia supporters down here. It's not looking real good. And their text, you're right, man. Let them get a little confidence. And then he just showed out tonight, man. It made me real happy.
Yeah. I've kind of asked a few folks this. I haven't asked everybody because tonight feels more of and the overreaction show can go both ways. We can overreact negatively, or we can overreact positively. Tonight has been more positive. Is there anything that you saw that you can overreact to on the negative side, though?
Not huge negative. We still don't have that huge push in the middle. We don't have that edge setter. We don't have that Nolan Smith right now. Chaz stepped up a lot tonight. Not so much stepping the edge, but also got out on the perimeter. Did a lot of good in the pass. Broke up a couple of passes. Still don't have Nolan there yet to set that edge, but looked real good in the run game tonight. Overall, real good on defense as well.
Yeah, I think if there were any gripes tonight, Roddy, which Barry Watkins has double dared anybody to find something wrong tonight. And there's always something. There's always something.
Barry's first damn show.
There's always something. B-Dub. It is that defensive line. It's that I really never thought, and we talked about this last week, Nolan Smith would be the guy that we'd be like, yeah, that's probably the guy they're missing, the most. And
a lot of it is. It was like Trayvon Walker.
Yeah.
He didn't have crazy numbers.
Right. No one didn't either.
Didn't have crazy numbers. No. But here's the thing. When that guy sets the edge and it goes the other way and, your inside linebackers get tackles, when those guys set the edge, when they blow up that side of it and the quarterback rolls away from them into someone else, we very seldom go back and see the butterfly wings that cause the hurricane. We don't go back and look at what screwed that play up. We don't see it where the coaches do. But it's funny, at the end of this season, they're like, yeah, that guy's a not only a first round draft pick, he's like the number one guy overall. So sometimes we're looking at the box score, the coaches are looking at scheme, who's had to take on double teams, who can't let their their tight end roll out for a little curl route because he's got to stay in and chip, Trayvon or Nolan. And, when you can get one-on-one, and give Kentucky credit for having just Velcro hands. There's some beautiful holding out there tonight. There was some pretty.
But again, I tell you this every week, Roddy. They hold every week.
Well, they do, and I'm just saying there were some egregious ones out there, and I don't want to get too much into it, Jay Hyde, but I'm with you. There are a couple right off that first drive. Is like, are you crapping me right now? Are you joking? Where's the guy on the edge? And then they adjusted, And but you're right. They did take away the gap, so give the defensive front. They weren't coming after the quarterback. That wasn't their job. Their job was to say, okay, these A gaps are gone, these B gaps are gone, and we're going to fight you on the edge. And there's nowhere for Ray Davis to run. He's a cutback guy. There's no lanes open. So I'm with you. You don't have that Devontae Wyatt in the middle. You don't have that Jordan Davis. You don't have a disruptor on the defensive front, but you have some journeymen. Nazir Stackhouse, Zion Logue, Warren Brinson, Tramel Walther played a hell of a game. Those guys took away all the gaps. Like, okay.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we've been very much spoiled the past couple of years too. Yeah. So the way we look at it, is everything that comes up the middle, we should just jump on, and it's done at that point, and then it should be for a loss, and have to look at it from a different perspective at this point. But
I would love to see.
But for tonight, against a back of that caliber and Ray Davis, those guys did a hell of a job.
I would love to see how many yards he got between the tackles.
It's
got to be under 20.
Yeah. And to Jay Hyde's point, that's exactly what everybody's so spoiled. Like, they think a run up the middle should be negative yardage.
Yeah,
that's what it was for 2 years. That's what it was.
But if Georgia does it, and they get yardage, you run power. When they go wide and you run power off that guard and he comes around and you expect that to go for 10, 15 yards. And when it doesn't, you're like, what the hell's wrong with this run game?
Right.
Yeah. But overall, Jay Hyde, how much more soothing is it now after the Auburn game? You're able to come put a 50 burger up against Kentucky. Now you've got Vandy. Where are the nerves at right now?
So over last week, my nerves were tore up. I ain't gonna lie. Right. So bad. And I don't know, probably after like first quarter and a half, I put my feet down, have a drink next to me, and I just sat back and enjoyed the game, like the past couple of years. So after tonight, I'm very much relieved. So,
well, I think you speak for all of the Georgia fan base. I think it's tough. It's tough to find some stuff to overreact to negatively, but it's also very easy to overreact positively against a team like Kentucky, who before they played Florida was 122nd out of 133 in strength of schedule. It didn't go much higher with the Florida game. So it's also, they're ranked, so it looks good on paper, but you kind of dive into their season, they haven't played anybody except Florida. So always good to keep level headed, Jay Hyde.
That too. Well, it's the same. I don't know how y'all felt about it, but the line come out last week, minus 14.5, and I was like, "You're crazy." I mean, and I wanted to feel good about it, and then the line come out, and I was like, "No way!" And then we come out tonight and showed out, and then it made me feel real good. I can't lie.
It's my first spread of the year I missed. I said Georgia would not cover. So
I was with you.
Yeah. I said Georgia would not cover. I thought it was going to be one of those 28-24. Georgia was going to be losing at half.
Absolutely. No, I know. I wasn't there. I thought it was going to be the same past couple of years. We're in front, but, not by a lot. I didn't think we would open it up a lot. They opened it up a lot. I don't know if it was a result of them opening up the playbook a little more. I think it was really more of a result of Carson really gaining some confidence, and then they opened up for him, like right there, got some completions right there at the beginning, and his confidence got up, and then it was game on from that point, and he just showed out, and I loved it.
What changed the game was, I think, first play, handoff 7 yards.
Right.
And Mike Bobo probably wet himself at that point. He's like, oh, crap. we got him. And the coaches know early. I don't understand the stuff they see. I sit next to one for 3 hours, and I feel like I'm in first grade. But just like, we can move them. We can move these guys around.
Yep.
And every time they needed it, they handed the ball off, and it was positive yardage. How many – I think it was one or maybe 2 plays that there was a handoff that didn't get positive yardage. That's insane. Of course, when Georgia was handing the ball off, when Kentucky handed the ball off, Georgia's beating them in the backfield, dropping those guys. And again, when you go wide, it's a lot easier to drop you for a loss. But so few negative plays in that first drive, second drive. The only thing got in Georgia's way was Georgia. And you're like, this is what they could be. So remember when we were furious after the South Carolina game, Jihad? Remember when we were, everybody's butthole was clenched against Auburn. It wasn't good enough against UAB. Ball State, what's scoreless first quarter against Ball State or something, and then 31 points in the second quarter. But it was like that damn quarter. What's going on? Again, even in my column this week, I wrote Georgia can't start. Will they start fast? But if you can run it like they did today. And then you got those Carson Beck's like, I'm just going to take what they give me.
Right.
I'm just going to pound them and just make them humiliate them. That is why we were so mad those games, because, yes, we're spoiled.
Very much.
But I think everybody who's watching, all 400 of you, felt the team was capable of doing what they did tonight.
Yeah.
Again, you don't have the disruptor in the middle, but do you see, Pop Dumas Johnson, 2 sacks.
Killed it.
Smile Munden, killing people. They tried to throw twice sideline routes on Kamari Lasser. He almost picked one, batted the other one away. Yep. Chaz Chambliss drops back into coverage, bats a pass down.
Exactly.
They run behind Xavier Truss, first down. Cedric Van Pran gets hurt, goes back out there. They run behind him, immediate play, 5-yard pickup. Brock Bowers drops one in the end zone. What the hell? But then, of course, he goes and catches another one. He has his 3rd 100-yard game. I don't know the last time Georgia had a wide receiver 300-yard rows in 3 100-yard games in a row. Beck, again, in Game 6, looks all world.
And another thing off that, like Wilson comes in, once Van Pran goes out, 3 or 4 low snaps in a row, and Carson just grabs it, especially the touchdown to Milton right there, just grabs it off the ground, hands it off. Like that never happened wrong. And then he coaches him up after that. They on the TV, they were like, I don't know what they were doing, but he was just, telling them it's all right, get the snap up, we got it, and so, not even any let off after that. They made up for it and went on about it.
And he did that so well, it tricked me. I was sitting there, and I did not see Kendall Milton score because I thought it was a fake the way the ball went. And with Carson peeling to his left, I'm like, naked boot?
Nope. Low snap, man. He made up for it. Got the ball handed off, in for the touchdown.
Yeah. And another example, you mentioned him. Kendall Milton gets in. The touchdown run was good, but that paled in comparison to the play before that, where he gets the ball, runs 2 yards, gets hit, but then picks up 4 more.
Right, picks up.
Being an ass. I mean, he's like, I'm gonna kill somebody.
I mean, how good is it to let? How good is it? You can see Milton actually out there a little bit healthy,
It opens up a lot. It opens
put it together, man. So if he keeps on and gets into healthy enough to take those additional snaps off Edwards, then how good we're going to be in the running game then.
Yeah, look how Dejan got his yards. He doesn't overpower people. He shifts through them. I think of him like a cat burglar. He just dodges and dives all the trip wires and laser lines and stuff. Just dude. He's like, I'm just gonna be over here. Y'all do what y'all got to do. I'm gonna
get these yards.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he's 6 yards down the field.
Absolutely.
But sometimes you have to bang, and Kendall Milton showed that he can bang. So, I mean, a lot of Georgia's plays are drawn up so that you get a hat on a hat, but then you're going to have a running back on a linebacker, running back on a safety. And the running back has to break that tackle or make him miss or drive him backwards. Give me Kendall Milton against just about anybody. I mean, he's just got the full head of steam, the acceleration. And again, you saw those safeties creeping up. You saw those linebackers creeping up to the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden Georgia goes play action. And it's like, how much time did Carson Beck have to throw the ball tonight?
17 seconds each.
Yeah, at least.
His jerseys,
it was like he was just standing back there doing whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah,
he's Googling how to throw a fade route.
He even
I guess the only complaint really, for Beck is like every once in a while, pull it, make them guess. I mean, and that's my only, I guess, overreaction out of there. There was a couple in probably the first, second quarter that he could have pulled it out and ran. And at that point, I guess it makes him second guess at that point. Maybe he will run every once in a while. Maybe he will pull it.
Well, Jay Heisman, I appreciate you calling in, first time caller, hopefully long time listener, man.
I've been listening forever. I got up the gumption tonight just to jump on. I appreciate you guys.
All right, man. We need people from Florida calling. Yeah. Need somebody.
We appreciate you though, man. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right, man.
Jump on next week, Jay. We need you.
Hey, Radi.
Yeah.
Did you see how Georgia Tech beat Miami?
I saw everybody talking about that because I saw Miami tie it up.
God.
That's not real.
It's real. It's real. Yeah. It's man.
I mean, you see what Gary Gilbreth says Arizona's beating USC 17-7.
Yeah, they're beating them pretty bad right now. There's one guy we can't beat though, Roddy. You know who that is?
Oh God, that's the worst ever.
It's the doctor.
What a transition.
Paul's a pro, Roddy. Paul's a pro.
Yeah, you don't pay me the big bucks for nothing, And here, this is a segment I like to call Roddy Ask Me Anything. Okay. And what it really revolves around is football, but more than football, a little bit of family, a little bit of faith. And
hey, so before we go to the doctor, we have to take a quick commercial break and mention our friends at ASW Distillery. So I'm having the Fiddler, so I'm pounding that. Today we got the Hunker Down Vodka.
Yes.
Now, this is new. Now, ASW wins all these awards. You see it on the screen there. They won all these awards for what they do. 5 out of the 6 founders at ASW are Georgia fans. So they're beside themselves tonight. They're happy. They all have the tasting facility out at the Battery, which after a game like tonight, you can go by the tasting place and have a drink or two.
Or 10.
But they have a new vodka that they've delivered in conjunction with the Classic City Collective. The Classic City Collective runs the Georgia NIL program. So if you're trying to get Brock Bowers to stay for another year, you're trying to get KJ Bolden to flip from FSU to UGA. It's the NIL has a ton to do with it right now. And so people are saying, what is Nikar thinking? There's a lot of comments. What is Nikar, the kid that just decommitted from Georgia and is now looking around, who went to the Auburn game? Nikar is probably looking at about $25,000, $30,000 a month. Some of these schools are offering him. Okay. Georgia's not going to offer him that. But for Georgia to be able to do so, Classic City Collective needs a lot of money. Hunker, which will soon be an award-winning vodka, I can guarantee it. Some of the proceeds of that will go to the Classic City Collective, and they will be able to distribute those funds amongst the players. Now, that's not to say that Hunker is affiliated with the University of Georgia. They are affiliated with the Classic City Collective. There is a hard wall there between the two. But don't drink Tito's. Don't drink Grey Goose. Don't drink any of these others. Get the one made by Georgia folks for Georgia fans. So take Hunker to your next tailgate when you get a chance.
You said 25 to 30 grand a month?
I heard that, by the way.
I'm not saying that him specifically, but that is those are numbers being batted around for top players these days.
Well, I hope my son Jackson can grow up to be big and strong because we're gonna need that. Damn.
Maybe he takes after his mother.
Yeah, if he gets my genes, he'll just be staying up late nights talking about it. But anyways, doctor, what's the diagnosis on this Georgia? Man, I'm good at this shit. What's the diagnosis on this Georgia football team?
Four things I wrote about after the game. It's on UGAsports.com. But the first thing is, the biggest thing for me is you didn't know, like last year, there were struggles. There were inconsistencies. There was, 36 to 22 against Kent. There was, struggle at Missouri. But you'd seen the ceiling in the first game against Oregon. You knew what the ceiling looked like, especially against a quality opponent. We hadn't seen that this year. You'd only seen struggle for the most part, inconsistencies, a few quarters here and there, slow starts, all that. And you finally got to see what the ceiling of this team could be. And that's something I think that's big moving forward, especially given the fact that you have Vanderbilt and then a bye before you sort of hit the home stretch. The other one was, I know Radi's a fan of sort of acronyms and corny phrases and whatnot, but I went
fired around here.
I went killer bees tonight, but you got Bowers, Beck, and Bobo as the third killer bee because
Bobo sucks. You know this. He needs to be fired. Remember, he gave the ball to Hudson Mason to throw it against South Carolina 750 damn years ago. Fire Bobo. Why would you defend him?
It's because of how they're evolving and getting sort of the best out of what they have each week, because they know they're not going to run the ball and just line up and sort of pound it down people's throats. Darnell's not there. All the things that we've sort of talked about. Well, but you did it though after you threw it like 15 out of the first 17 plays. Like this is a passing game sets up the running game for this team. And the things that they're doing, the little things that they did tonight, like the very first play of the game, just a quick swing to Edwards. But then the 3 plays off of that same action later, hitting backside one-on-ones, like stuff like that. And then the play action that we talk about consistently. The big call for me, the call of the game, like I even texted Dan, I think that was the play of the game, was the 3rd and 1 play action to Bowers on, I think, the second drive, where everybody was lined up and tight. Yeah. They even went pistol. He held the fake long, and it's just nobody goes. Bowers motioned, like the design of that and the sort of big picture identity piece for that, hey, we got a great, accurate quarterback. We have a Superman in Bowers, like the ultimate chess piece in the game. That's our team. That's our identity. That's kind of what I wrote about after the game. Outside of Kentucky just fumbling over themselves and being idiots and dumb penalties and inaccurate throwing. They kind of sped up the blowout.
Who won the toss?
Kentucky. They deferred.
Yep. And most teams do, right? Well, how big of a Georgia's only scored 17 points in the first quarter leading up into this game. How big was that first drive for Georgia to go out there and just look, just dominant? How big of a change would that have been had they not done that? Like, is this game still the same, or was it just a snowball effect there? Because we've all played sports, at least middle school wise, and we know what it takes to kind of build momentum. Was it just a huge momentum builder there? They knew if they lost, they were going to if they lost the toss, they were going to defer it to Georgia. They're going to have to go out there and show what's up, and they just built off that.
I think it's a great point. I would have, if I were Kentucky, I would have taken the ball just because, given the slow start that you've talked about, I would have taken the ball just to go ahead and try to do something with it. But even, Georgia obviously goes down and scores, but Kentucky comes right back and is moving right down the field, but getting a third down, and then Leary penalty killed it. The first holding penalty, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then Leary misses. Like, I think, Paul, you hit that throw.
Yes, that was a
third down, like
throw, yeah.
And that guy, he may have scored. Like, he was running for days, kind of thing. I think it was Robinson.
He's getting at least to the 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, that was coming into the game. That was the thing. Like, that guy's just inconsistent, inaccurate, and he's not really the same since he got hurt last, a couple years ago. So they missed their chances. And then once Georgia sort of got rolling, then it was all the chains. Over. Yes. Then it was done.
But then Kentucky still had another chance, right? And then they had that personal foul that stopped that drive. And I kind of felt
bad. Third down, they gave the ball back to Georgia. That was
right. I felt bad for Mark Stoops because they asked him, they were like, what do you have to do? And he's like, these penalties, man. Like, we're literally shooting ourselves in the foot here. Because in the first
they're
quarter,
normally coached better than that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I think it was the same guy on both of those. It was the same offensive lineman for the holding and the personal foul. Mm-hmm. And, this thing could have turned out a little bit different had that not happened, because at the beginning of the game, Georgia wasn't getting much pressure. Leary was having time back there to throw and do what he wanted to do. And then once you get behind so far, Brent, you almost have to start playing catch up. You get out of your groove, your game plan, everything. And those 2 penalties were huge in getting Kentucky out of that game plan.
And you eliminate the Ray Davis factor. And that was
correct.
Like I said that on Around the League on Thursday. I'm like, this is what I want to see from Georgia is you dictate the pace of the game through your offense. Don't let teams run the ball on you. Like, because they have to throw because they're behind.
Yep.
Like, and that was kind of what happened. Because Davis, by the way, he's still really good. Made some really good runs. He sets up things really well for them and what they do.
Patience.
But yeah, like, to me, he's a souped up version of Dejan. Like, a little faster, a little more explosive, a little thicker. But the way their running styles, very similar. So patient. And like, I think he could have been a factor in the game had they not, hit themselves in the head a few times.
It kind of reminds me of Mike Davis at South Carolina back in the day.
Yes, it's a good comp.
2-8.
Same name too.
Yeah.
And Mike was one of my favorite recruits of all time to cover. Good guy. Still.
Stevenson High School, if I remember correct.
Yes,
right?
sir. When they had like 17 guys there that all went D1, there was just that ridiculous class of Stevenson. But so Georgia goes up 7-0. Kentucky's moving. Then they screw it up. Georgia gets the ball back, drives again. Now suddenly you're down 2 scores, 14-0. It's not like 10. And you're thinking, okay, we need to score quickly here. And Georgia gets another score. It's like, to your point, now you got to throw.
Yep.
And you have to throw. You have to throw differently than how you were planning. Like,
you can't
plan to incorporate Ray and do all this. Now you're just full fledged. We got to
get you don't have that play action threat. I mean, Georgia still works some, but Georgia's like, come on. We know you're not going to run it too much. You're down 3 scores.
Well,
that changes things up a little bit. But then Georgia's like, okay, we don't have to come pressure you, buddy. Like, you talk about not getting pressure on those first couple of drives. Like, no, we're worried about number 1.
Yep.
We got linebackers moving wherever he's going. We're taking away his gaps. We're blocking everything off. We're going to take Ray Davis out of it, and we're going to – Leary, you have to win this game. And
he couldn't.
There are very few quarterbacks in the nation right now I'll take against Georgia's secondary. Lassiter on one side, Malachi Starks, Javon Bullard, Tyke Smith. And again, the only weakness in that thing, I guess, would be Dalen Everett. And that's only because he's young. He's going to get better. And then you saw Georgia actually play some balls in the air. My number one grief about if you're down 3rd and 16, throw deep on Georgia. You're always get a holding penalty or a pass interference. Throw deep every time. And Georgia, nope. They played balls in the air. Well, even the linebackers played balls in the air today. So I was like, there was no easy pickings for Leary.
And it's a great point that you made in terms of what is the strength of Georgia's defense. The strength is the secondary. Well, how do you play to that strength? You play from ahead.
Yeah.
And you make teams throw the ball. So now they're playing to your strength versus if you don't start fast and you start slow, now they can run their
They
offense
can dictate
and they can dictate tempo. You play from ahead, you are now playing defense through your strength as well.
And that lack of pressure, like Radi said, doesn't matter much anymore because you're having to try to get the ball downfield against a very talented secondary, which we saw tonight. The recipe for that ended with Devin Leary 10 for 26 with 128 yards. I mean, this kid, he was supposed to be.
There were 2 drops, but that's still that even he gets both those, he's still under 50%.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this guy was supposed to be the real deal. I mean, he was supposed to be the
top
truth
transfer QB.
Right. Yeah, I think he was the top on some sites.
A lot of rankings. Yeah, no.
Right.
The accuracy issues are real. Like he's got a major hitch in his throw now compared to even what he was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Other thing tonight I thought
don't get caught up in the rankings, even though we put out rankings. Don't get caught up.
I thought was really good to see. I thought Milton looked as good as he's looked all season.
Very true.
More burst than ever. Like I would borderline take it easy with him given your opponent next week, and that way
I wouldn't even play him next week.
But
I got a question.
That's not how they roll.
I know.
But
I got a question for you, Doc.
Okay, go for it.
So we touched on this earlier in the show, and I want your opinion on this. Dejan had 1 reception in the first 5 games for Georgia. Now has 6 tonight. Was that just an anomaly, or was that a product of getting Kendall Milton back and Bobo saying, all right, now I can incorporate, a passing attack out of these running backs because I don't have to worry about Dejan getting hurt. I have at least another scholarship back that I can rely on. I don't have to rely on a Dylan Bell or a Cash Jones or even an Andrew Paul. Or is it just an anomaly? Hey, this happened because he was getting dumped off to. They weren't really true routes like we saw with McIntosh on wheel routes last year. They're more checkdowns.
Yes.
But I'm just wondering, do we see that more, which I think could even help the offense even more?
I think it's a good point in terms of that. But like the first few, the first one of the game, like the first, that's a run. Like that's the run extension game type thing, but it's a catch. And then he got like 2 or 3 really quick ones right there before the half where they navigated the half really well, just checking the ball down because they had timeouts. So I think some of it's game situation, some of it's your point. And either way, the combination of that is a good thing. I think with Beck, what you've seen with him over these first 6 games is someone who is just, darts in terms of accuracy from intermediate to less. Like he's missed some of the stuff much deeper down the field, but his intermediate throw game is just dead on accurate. And the combination of that plus play calling and what they're doing schematically to get, like, Bowers didn't have guys within 10 yards of him in certain instances. Like he's the best player in the country. How does that happen?
Crazy.
That's scheme. That's coaching. Like that's using motion and route combos and things like that to get that. And you have the QB who's functioning within that and seeing it well. I think now you're seeing the passing game sort of take that tick level that go up, because that was kind of one of the things that was Stetson the past few years where there would be some frustrations with him where it's like, hey, dude, you're missing these layups we're giving you. Like, stop missing our layups. And Beck is not missing any layups. Like, he's maybe missed a few deep ones, but outside of that, major on point from an accuracy standpoint.
And I see Rhett Womack saying that it's an extension of the run game. I get that, but they've only passed to Dejan once before. He's only had 1 reception prior to today. So extension of the run game, sure, with the wide receiver screens, but today they were actually able to get it to the running back. I'm just curious if that, I think it's something to monitor moving forward now that Kendall is healthy, is so that they can finally get some running back routes, if you will, out of the backfield.
I think what you're going to see is a lot of, much like with Monken, and I think Bobo being there with Monken last year, how their plan in essence was different from week to week, because that's what the pros do. They have a different opponent that runs a different scheme week to week versus hey, here's what we do, and we're just going to do what we do no matter what you do. And thus you see this week with the outside guys, with Thomas and Rosemary Jackson being heavily involved, and Ladd and Lovett being, barely involved. Like
Lovett had
week,
2 for 16. McConkey had 1 for 11.
I bet I could see next week Lovett and Ladd combining for like 7 and 120. like just because of the opponent, because of how it differs week to week. And that's what you want. That's what you want to be able to attack teams based on what they do. And that's why I thought they would run a lot of play action early just because of – and by the way, I felt a lot better about this game because later in the week I watched more of Florida's game against Kentucky. And OMG, did Florida play beyond – not just bad, but bad from a setup and a coaching standpoint where you're just like, how are you not giving your QB answers? Because Mertz has been playing well, but they gave him no answers in that game. And just that's what I felt better as the week went along as I watched more of Kentucky's game against Florida.
Yeah, I felt a lot better when you go back and look at the number of missed tackles. You're like, God, this Florida team sucks.
Yes,
but,
it was awful.
Again, you can have a bad day. They won't play Georgia that way. They'll tackle all over the damn place.
No.
And, they'll hit their guys. But we talk about Carson being accurate in the intermediate stuff. He wasn't the first game. He was in the second game.
Right.
I mean, he completed passes, but remember, some of those passes were behind a guy. He had wide receivers bailing his butt out, just on a slant route, crossing route, double moves, just not quite there. But he has settled down. I mean, his post-game interviews are more comfortable now. Again, it's different in Game 6 than it is in Game 1. Ernest Green, same thing. You've gone on the road, you've had some tough games, you come out and win them, you build confidence, you build timing. Rod Thomas is a lot better. He knows more in Week 6 than he did in Week 1. And go back and read that 3-2-1 column. I mentioned him specifically, and Marcus Roseby-Jack Saint, because my folks are telling me that's the guys to look at. So we put him in our column, and those were the guys that took off into the show. One of the questions was, will somebody help out Brock Bowers? Because he's going to get draped. He's going to get double coverage. He's going to get bracketed. They're going to be all over him. They were a few times, and they used him you saw linebackers going over there. Then Georgia would send in somebody to where that vacated spot, and they'd get a completion. But you saw them going to Marcus Roseby-Jack saying, I feel so bad that he's got 99 yards.
Yeah, and they tried to get it to. They tried to get a couple more passes to him, and I think one was a pass interference, and then one he just couldn't get around the corner. So they tried to get him over that 100-yard mark. They did.
Speaking of Bowers, did you happen to see the replay when the kid's arm got hurt when he tried to tackle Bowers?
Is that what happened?
He reached out with one arm and hit Bowers' lower leg area and literally broke his arm in half.
Damn.
It was just dangling there. The guy that they took off in his arm, they showed the replay. You have to go back and watch. It was nasty. And it was literally just by hitting Bowers' leg. He's Superman.
He's good. He's good. 467 yards now for Bowers. That one thing that everybody talks about is 1,000-yard receiver.
Oh, he's got more than it's more than that. It's like 545, I think.
I just did the tally. I just did it with my math, my remedial math.
He was I think he was 430 coming in the game, wasn't he?
Don't you build roofs?
Yeah.
The math you do kind of
410 or something like that coming in the game, I thought.
Hold on. Let me see. Oh, damn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
This is how he does invoices, folks. Just let y'all know. Here's how much you owe for your roof.
he's saving people money, right? By undercharging.
Yeah, let's see. 121, 157, 132. 545.
Yeah, that's one.
Okay, good. Damn, what did I say?
He's getting 1,000.
545.
If they want,
he's got to get to.
You're going to need to. I think he's going to because you're going to. He is what he is, and that's the targets are there.
He's got 7 more games. Foster says of Brock Bowers, but 7 more games to get to 1,000. He's at 545. Was that 455 yards that he needs? He'll get there. Be the first guy since who?
Edwards.
Yeah.
Only guy, right? He's the only guy, right?
Yeah. I mean, damn. That's used probably every year in negative recruiting against Georgia. is this guy.
Oh, yeah. Dude, you want to know what? That's one of the reasons Georgia can't recruit a top flight wide receiver, because they're like, well, look, in their own literature, they talk about being RBU, running back U. Their number one guy is a tight end. They throw the tight ends all the time. They throw the guys. Their top wide receiver the last 2 years is transferred out. Why go there and then have to transfer later on? Don't listen to the stuff they're telling you. I mean, the negative recruiting is awful. But that's why I was like, man, throw it to somebody else. I know you're going to throw it to 10 different guys, but feed. And Kirby's not worried about that. Kirby's like, look, if I can throw it to 7 guys who are all getting 55, 65, 99 yards, we're gonna win. We're gonna win championships. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here just to get 5-star wide receivers. But it wouldn't hurt to be able to say, hey, look, Georgia had 2, 3 100-yard receivers, Nycar, Sokovie White, you had Ryan Williams, 5-star wide receiver, committed to Alabama in the 2025 class in the stands tonight. He saw something. So
also 325 yards for Marcus Rosemy-Jackson. He's got 7 more games to do it. Could happen. Could you get 2 1,000 in 1 year? Who knows? But Doc, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you got some things you got to do.
The adrenaline from writing is now gone. It's time to crash and go to bed.
Yes. Yeah. We've got a man waiting that'll.
He's actually get up and go to church. I don't.
Hey, the man revolves around 3 things. Okay, tomorrow's one of them. All right. Well, actually 2. Actually, he's got all 3 tomorrow. He's got the family at the Faith, and then he's got football after. I mean, living the dream.
He's not going to see his family tomorrow. He doesn't want to see them. It's the weekend. He gets break.
Yeah. Parental rights are, they're a crazy thing. Doc, we appreciate you so much.
See you, fellas.
See you, man. Oh, Roddy, I don't know if I want to do this.
Oh, God, not Ben.
I know.
I told you so.
It's coming.
Non-stop.
So I got new bread today. So I'm gonna see how that works. Let's bring them on.
What bread you get?
So I got it's
more important than Ben.
It's like an artisan. It's a thick cut.
Artisan or artesian?
Bread. I got some fruits. I got some bananas. I got some apples.
You look like you're in
I'm in the kitchen.
Wait, Ben's got to be at somebody else's house because they have fruit. We know he only eats on Doritos.
And they have the lights on.
Yeah,
Doritos.
And
I don't think I have Doritos here. I have some other chips, but not Doritos.
Mountain Dew Code Red. I think that's what he survives on.
Right.
That's a classic.
Where's the big chair?
Oh, the big chair is not in this room. I just decided better background because last week was bad. Oh, wait, is Foster Moss in the chat, by the way?
Yep.
Of course. Yeah. There he is. Curious.
I don't have my biscuits for Foster Moss. Didn't bring the biscuit today, Paul.
What is that? What's that in the background? Is that you?
Of course it is.
Okay,
hey, we're doing a show, Ben. You have to turn off the other stuff.
Yeah, turn off the other stuff.
God,
third grade, Ben.
All right, now we're good.
Well, all right, Ben, give us your thoughts.
Damn, Ben.
Okay.
We got dead air here, man. I can't have this.
Okay, so first off, I wanted to say, luckily Dane's not on here, or I'd roast him. But that was, I would say, what the main thing, because a lot of people are going to talk offense, defense, or talk about Carson. I think the main point of everything today was the offensive line, because I've said everything revolves around the offensive line. If you have a top 5 O-line, oh my God.
I was waiting on him to see it.
This man literally is like in my nightmares, Foster Moss, roasting me about something. But okay, anyway, okay, so back on subject. So I was just going to say, when you look at the college and the pro ranks, I always think that the O-line dictates everything. And today the pass protection was the best it was all season long by far. Like some of Beck's throws on the play action downfield, he felt like he had all day to throw. He just felt comfortable. And I think if you have Beck, and also second thing I want to point out, if Georgia gets up early, that's a deadly team because this team actually has a very effective passing game. Because in years past, people would say about Stetson, they would be like, if Georgia's defense isn't there in the first quarter and they get down, do you trust him to throw you back in the game? This is a team that's a passing offense. I mean, you look at the early in the game, I think they ran the ball like 5 or 6 times in the first half. That's not prototypical Kirby Smart Georgia football. So this is a team now, when you look at it, if they get up early, it's game over because they can then lean on the offensive line. And you look at the offensive line today, I thought the run game was as efficient as it's been all year. The pass protection was as efficient as it's been all year. That's why they scored their most points against the first-ranked team they played, which I think is kind of crazy to me because in years past when they would play Kentucky, even though Georgia always beats Kentucky, you look at last year, it was like 16-0, and then Kentucky scores late. The year before, it's like a 2-possession game or 3-possession game. Kentucky always hangs around. This is the first time in a while that Georgia just said, we're going to sit on Kentucky and take them out early, which I thought was impressive. And I think the offensive line, in my opinion, dictated the game. And I thought the defense improved. Early, it had some issues with the run defense at times, and Kentucky just shot themselves in the foot. That one offensive lineman is one of the dumbest players I've ever seen. He's just sitting on guys repetitively. I think his name is Burton, the right guard. That you can't do.
He had back-to-back 15-yarders.
You can't do that. That just kills drives. It kills momentums, and it really just sets the tone for the other team. You just give them all the momentum in the world. So that was another thing that I was shocked by because Mark Stoops, for what it's worth, Kentucky's on an all-world job in the SEC, and he's consistently won there and had disciplined teams. And today, that team is not disciplined at all. And that let Georgia just blow the doors off them.
What'd you think about Brock going for over 100 3 times in a row? Heisman candidate? No? Yes?
I put him in the top 5. I think right now, and Paul, my Bo Nix take maybe he's still in there. I think the kid from Washington is the favorite. And then Caleb Williams is struggling with Arizona right now. But I think Brock, for me, I'd put him at 3rd. I really would. I think besides Michael Penix and Caleb Williams, I'd look at Brock Bowers. I think he's a better player than Marvin Harrison is. And I think that's going to be a thing this year in the draft. When people talk about Brock Bowers, Marvin Harrison, I think Brock Bowers is more impactful. I think he's the best non-quarterback in college football for sure. And I think there's an argument that he's the best player in college football. And to do it in an offense where there's only been one 1,000-yard season ever, and this guy's a 100-yard game after 100-yard game as a tight end, I just think that he has to be at least in New York. I'm not saying he has to win it because it's a quarterback.
Like Carson did. Stetson did last year.
Yeah, I think he just has to deserve to be there because I think Stetson had a great year last year, and I think Bowers might top it this year with what Stetson did last year. So I think Bowers, if he's just a finalist for a tight end, I can't remember in my lifetime a Heisman finalist at tight end. So that in
like
itself
17 years
is an
old.
Achievement. I thought it was past the ID jokes.
Speaking of Heisman things, Jaden Daniels is going to work his way back into the talk.
You can't.
Hey, who's leading the SEC in passing yards right now?
I get it, but he's also lost 2 games.
But he's also has 1,969 yards through 6 games. That's right at 2,000 yards. He could end the season in the 3,000 to 4,000 yard range. He had 4 touchdowns today, but nipping at his heels. So he's got 1,969. Is Carson Beck, 1,886 yards. He's only 20 some odd yards away from having a 2,000 yard season through. You pretty much can guarantee you'll get that at Vandy unless something bad happens. So Carson and Jaden Daniels, if you're mentioning one, you might mention the other going neck again. And the SEC carries some weight. It's like if you're one of the top quarterbacks, even with the losses, you don't have to go. They're not going to put the losses on him, is my point. So I think, again, people love flashy numbers. Yeah. If people want to give it to the best player in college football, we would have, maybe Penix and Caleb Williams. And Caleb's kind of sucking tonight, or at least was. But you give me the best tight end, one of the best blockers. I mean, he was killing people. A great running back. He lines up at running back. What was it, 4 times tonight he lined up at running back? He can line up at fullback. He can line up as an inline tight end. He can split him out into the boundary. You can split him out into the field. You can put him in a slot on both sides. That's a man that can do it all. So if you're saying, give me the best college football player for the Heisman, hell, you could put him on defense. He tackled people. So I'm just saying that would be it. But who do we give it to? The guy with the craziest numbers.
Yeah, the best quarterback. Before tonight's game, Carson was 10th but there was 3 guys ahead of him that had played 6 games in terms of passing yards. So this hasn't been updated yet after today's games, but I'm sure he will now be, pretty far up there, if not top 5.
And they pulled him. They've pulled him a bunch of times. So, I mean, if they left him in, he'd have even more. But again, some of those other guys are getting pulled too. So I'm not going to do it. But I'm just saying that this is not year 3 for Carson Beck.
Yeah,
right.
This isn't year 2. This is game 6. And I think he's a 1-year guy. I mean, sure, he could come back next year, but I think that's not the goal. He's been here a long time. I think he wants to have a year, ball out, go to the NFL. That's just my gut take. And I could see him, getting into that talk, getting into that Heisman talk, getting into that, MVP, all the awards that pop up at the end, if he continues to play like this, because I think he's going to torch Vandy. I don't know they'll throw a whole lot against Florida, because if you can run like Kentucky did, I'd hand off every play. Be like,
right,
hey, come stop.
Right.
Missouri will be tougher.
But hell, we thought Kentucky.
Ole Miss, he might have to score 70.
We thought Kentucky was going to be tough too, and he dropped 389 on them.
I'll say this real quick. First off, on the
more worried about their run defense than I was their pass.
Yeah.
I'll say real quick on the Jaden Daniels point earlier. If they were undefeated, he'd arguably be the leader because his numbers are ridiculous. But his defense is like bottom 5. His defense is pathetic. But anyway, so on Carson Beck, the reason why I push back on the one and done is the quarterback class itself. If he continues at this pace, you would say traditionally he could be a one and done. But if you look at this quarterback class, if he stays another year, the quarterback class next year is weak. And if he has 2 years on film, that's good. He could go in the top 10. He can. I think that's – I don't think he can go in the first round this year, even if he balls out, because you have Caleb, Drake May. They're hyping up Deion's son. Ewers at Texas, they're still fascinated with. The Michigan, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, the kid from Duke. Like, there's so many guys that Beck with only 1 year of film, it's going to be hard for him to be in that first, second round conversation with such a deep class, which is why I think some of these quarterbacks are going to have a decision to make to come back next year. Because there isn't that underclassman, and maybe the kid from Penn State who isn't eligible as a surefire first-round pick next year. So that's why I think Carson, some of the people that are going to be advising him are going to say, you come back next year, you're going to be one of the top 2-3 quarterbacks, where this year it's all over the place. Like, you might have first-round film, but you're going to be a third-round quarterback because of the amount of teams that need quarterbacks. So that's one thing. And my third thing is just a question. Where would you rank Beck right now among SEC quarterbacks? Because I would personally put him second or third. Like, I think the only 2 quarterbacks I would put ahead of him are Daniels and Rattler because of what their whole body of work.
Daniels, I'm a big Jackson Dart guy.
Yeah. Daniels would be first. There's no question there.
Well, I'll put Milroe up there, man. I think he's danger. Absolutely. He is a danger noodle, man.
No. He's but no.
When Georgia loses them in that SEC championship game, you remember I told you. I warned you ahead of time.
Oh, come on. That's such a no. The guy can't throw.
He doesn't have to. What is Georgia's kryptonite?
A running quarterback. I get it, but
what can he do?
He can run. But you have to be able to throw a little bit. The guy can't.
He can throw a little bit. You said he can't complete passes at all?
They have Jermaine Burton.
What's that girl say?
What did he do tonight?
I'm legally blind. Barely.
Jermaine Burton had like 200 yards.
What Jalen Milroe do tonight? Let's see.
And Milroe had like 320, I think, or 330 through the air.
Let's see.
So we're talking. We're overreacting to a guy getting 300 yards passing, and how many did he have?
All right, so he went 21 of 33 for 321, 3 touchdowns and an interception. All right, well, you know what?
Shut the hell up.
How many times did he get sacked? Like 6 times?
Yeah.
Antoine. Rushing did he have?
Antoine, no. You're on my side.
Sack yardage is definitely going to like nuke that, Roddy. Like, he got sacked like 6 or 7 times. So I don't know. I think they should take that out. I think they should take
rushing.
Yeah,
Roddy. Yeah, he's a rushing quarterback. He had negative 31 yards.
What do you have prior to that, though?
I don't know. Prior to that, 69 and 2 tutties against Miss State.
Yeah.
He's good, but I think Stetson, man, as it stands right now, if we're doing like week to week, I'd say he's second in the SEC right now.
Not Stetson.
Why did I say Stetson? Somebody said Stetson. Carson. I think Carson's second right now. Dart, Rattler, Milroe round out the top 5.
That's fair.
Wait, who's your one? Daniels?
Of course, yeah.
I might go Rattler. I think Rattler might be the first SEC quarterback.
Hell no. Daniels.
His arm talent is
dude, Daniels is a beast.
It is good, but yeah, Daniels is terrifying.
Yeah. Wesley.
You don't have somebody just grab his ass up and hold him in the air.
Yeah. Wesley Williams says Beck will win the Heisman. The Heisman is rigged. I don't understand that.
Hey, we got Gary Gilbreth right here. I'm liking this. Gary's one of our good commenters. He's ready to jump on the show.
Get him in here, Roddy.
All right, Gary. Hey, no, you can smoke on the show. It's okay. You don't have to put it out, baby.
Hey guys, how y'all doing tonight?
Yeah,
what's up, man?
Out of your face there.
Yeah, how about them Bulldogs today? Man, they showed out.
Hell yeah, brother. Where are you calling us from, Big Double G?
Thomasville, Georgia, the home of Matt Bobo.
Oh, wow. you got any insight on the young man calling plays for the Dogs?
Okay, I didn't go to the same high school he went to. He went to Thomasville High. I went to Thomas County Central High.
Hey, there's been some ballers come out of Thomas County Central.
Yes, sir. Still are. We are ranked like number 4 or 5 in 6A this year.
Jesus.
Damn.
We got some real good players this year. We got 3 real good programs down here in Thomasville. Thomasville High, Thomas County Central, and the private school Brookwood is here. But back in the 90s, see, me and Bobo graduated the same year, 94. And we played our crosstown rivals in the state championship game in 1994, and Mike Bobo was the quarterback. And we beat them 14-12 in the state championship that year.
Wow, so both teams actually made it to the state championship.
Yes, sir. Yep.
That whole county must have been hot.
Oh man, it was alive. But let me ask y'all a question. Okay, Kirby Smart's from Bainbridge. He graduated the same year or the year after. Okay, Mike Bobo's from Thomasville. Why in the hell can't Georgia recruit Southwest Georgia any better than what they do?
Because you got all that FSU money picking those kids up, man. Come on.
What is it, FSU and Auburn and Florida?
Yeah, hell yeah. Look, I mean, they're going to go up to Colquitt County and say, hey, man, you can go to Georgia or you can come down here, and we got this NIL package for you that's double, triple what Georgia's offering. Georgia's keeping all their money to keep a Brock Bowers or a Cedric Van Pran or, some of those guys, they're spending their money on starters. They're spending their money on guys that are thinking about going to the NFL. Well, we have through freshmen, and here's the thing, Gary, when they give it to them, that kid shows up as a wide receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, defensive end, and he's making $300,000 a year. But the senior guy who they had just started in NIL, he's got like an $18,000 deal for the entire year from some, Zaxby's down that way or something.
Yep.
And the kid that comes in with all the, bragging rights, if you will, it's like, why the hell do I have to listen to you, old man? I make 5-6 times what you do, 7-8 times. Whereas if, in other words, you can get those guys, but you're not getting that leadership, that chemistry in the locker room that you have at Georgia. Georgia did not attack each other when they were down. The best thing that's come out of this entire year so far was when they were trailing at South Carolina, and they had that video in the locker room. And it showed Dumas Johnson addressing the guys. It showed Javon Bullard addressing the guys. Cedric Van Pran addressing the guys. Your leaders stepped up, got everybody in line, and they went out and kicked everybody's butt in the second half. You can't do that if you're over in the corner going, man, I got a deal that's 5 times what this old head saying. So That has a lot to do with it. I'm not saying it's all about money, Gary, but getting the Southwest is tough because the proximity of some of those schools and their bankrolls.
We are 35 miles north of Tallahassee. You got FSU there. Okay, we are closer to Auburn, Florida, FSU, than we are to Athens.
Hell, Mercer's gone in there and pulled some of those kids. So
Okay, now, Georgia did have a commit from Moultrie, which is Crockett County, but he decommitted a couple weeks ago.
He did.
But we still got the one out of Leesburg, right? Lee County.
Which one is that, Ben?
I can't remember what his name is.
Out of Lee County, I know there's a guy in 25, the running back Chroma.
Yeah, I guess that's who I'm talking about.
But he's not committed though, is he?
No.
Chroma looks phenomenal. Jed went down there, got film of him. I'd love to have that guy today.
Who's he talking about, Ben? You're supposed to be the recruiting guy here.
Didn't somebody go down there to the Houston County, Lee County game? Or was that BA's group?
No, I think that was Jed.
Oh, okay. That was a game and a half.
Yes, sir.
And they are in the same region that Thomas County Central is in. So we still have to play Houston County and Lee County.
What about the Georgia Bulldogs though?
Oh man.
What about those guys?
I think Bobo gets a lot too much grief from the fans.
You're saying that because he's from your hometown.
Well, it ain't only that. We've been spoiled. We had a great offensive coordinator. Well, maybe Bobo's not as great as Todd. What was his name? Todd
Monken.
Todd Monken. But he's still a really, 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 really good offensive coordinator. Go back over the numbers of what he did when he was at Georgia last time. I know he made a few mistakes running it up the middle sometimes when you shouldn't, but everybody does that. Go look at the numbers. If Georgia would have had a defense back during the time that Matt Bobo was offensive coordinator the first time, we would have had 2 or 3 national championships back then. Our offensive number would stand up to any of the numbers that we ever had at Georgia with Matt Bobo. Go look at the numbers.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir there.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you calling in, Gary.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all letting me come in. Beck grew up last week against Auburn, and he just balled out tonight.
He did.
And
what do you think of that running game, too?
It's looking better. I just wish we had some more coming back in that's injured. Because a lot of people, and I know people don't like the running game, but I love the running game.
Got to.
I love the running game because, you run up the middle, you run up the side. People got to understand football, true football. You run up the middle enough, you're going to wear down that defensive line. And the more you run it up the middle, the more you're going to wear them down. And then at the end of the game, you can run up the middle all you want to.
That's true. I mean, look at when Cedric Van Pran went back in there. They ran right off his hip. Got a double team, power.
And they couldn't do nothing about it.
8-yard gain. It's like, okay. And then it's that long death march just right up the field, just killed him. So you're right, Gary.
And then the run game opens up what Beck is really good at, the play option.
Play action.
I'm sorry. The play action. But you can't do a play action, not a true play action, unless you have the running game established from the start.
You got
That's
to.
how they do it down in Thomas County Central.
You got to. You got to.
Well,
Gary, last thought here. Give me a couple of your players of the game. One on offense, one on defense.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, it's a tough one this week.
The easy answer is Bowers, but Bowers truthfully had a better game last week. Yeah. I got to give it to Beck on offense.
Hell yeah.
Defense is a little bit harder because we had our defense. I think our defense is just now starting to come together.
Correct.
Yep.
And I know we've been spoiled on defense for 3 or 4, 5 years, but our defense has a potential to be better this year than it's ever been before.
It was a hell of a lot better last year, man, when your secondary is just getting gouged. You're right.
And I think the secondary is going to be actually our strength this year.
It is.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right,
we just need our defensive line to come together a little bit stronger. But they actually did real good tonight too.
Hell yeah.
Gary, I'm gonna make you pick somebody. You can't you're picking the whole group. You got to pick one guy. Player on defense.
Oh man.
Come on. There's 22 guys got snaps today, man. You got to pick one of them.
Here, I'll bail you out, Gary. How about Jamon Dumas Johnson, JDJ? How about that one?
That's a good one. I was gonna say Smile Monday, but that was last week.
That was last week.
Hey, you can have back-to-back weeks. That's fine. He was an SEC player of the week last year, but
we need to start that Brock for Heisman tour the campaign.
I got Ben printing out the posters tomorrow. So
yep.
All right, Gary. Well, we sure appreciate you giving us a call, my brother.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me. Y'all have a good night, guys.
You too, man.
Love it, man, friend. Love it.
Banana.
What are you doing with banana? Hey,
no, they're asking me in the chat to throw bananas at them.
What? Oh man, Gary's a good guy. Well, y'all be nice to Gary.
False Moss wants me to throw a banana.
Give him hell,
You have
Gary.
to hand out some helmet stickers.
And we're not allowed to pick people from last week, I'm guessing.
Pick whoever you want. And here's the thing, we've got this dang Nazi who won't give out a soup Nazi who won't give out any stickers, little sticker Nazi. You can only have one.
Right.
It's like, come on, man.
Paul likes to change the rule.
Bills from Office Depot for the banana stickers, and it's pretty cheap. You can give as many helmet stickers as you want.
Well, then, Ben, go ahead. The boss says hand out as many as you want. Let's just make these helmet stickers not worth a damn thing. Hand it out to everybody.
Make it participation.
Make it a damn participation bone,
right.
Would you?
You know what? I'll go 2.
Well, for Ben's age group, that's appropriate.
Number 1, I'm going to go Marcus Rosemary-Jackson because any receiver who touches 100 yards in the Georgia offense.
He didn't.
Well, he was 1 yard shy, but that's close enough for me. So I'd say him.
You're the guy that when they ran gassers would get to the line and just not quite touch it.
Yep.
Well, I would start with him just because his play, the deep ball touchdown to start the game, I think was the momentum. The place, went nuts after that. And I think from there, the offense, that was the best opening drive all year. It's the only opening points they got all year in the first drive, which is kind of crazy to me. But I would say
how many points have they scored in the first quarter all year?
17.
Well, they had 14 or 21.
14. Then they had 20. They had the 21 with 4 minutes off the second quarter, so 11 minutes into the second quarter.
So I would go Rosemary because he had a lot of big plays in the game. The offensive pass interference, I mean, at that point, the game was out of reach. But besides that, I think, and also his blocking, he's probably the best blocker of all the wide receivers. Very underrated. So, and second, Paul, it pains me to do this for you, but I got to give it to Peyton Woodring. The guy made multiple kicks, and he didn't miss.
He did.
And I texted Paul the weeks, he was missing. Paul said it's his freshman of the year. prediction going into the year, and he made multiple kicks, and he set his career long tonight. I have to give it to him because I remember when they played Auburn, I was like, this guy's going to miss every kick. He made the couple he had to, and then this week he made every single one. So I have to give it to him because from the early weeks to now, massive progress from him. So I'd give the sticker to him.
Well, you're allowed to give 2, so that's fine. That's perfect. That's great.
Yeah, so I said 2.
You can get 4 or 5. I don't care.
You know what, Roddy? You go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I want to give one to Brock, Rara, Marcus Roseman-Jackson, Dominic Lovett, Oscar Dell, Dylan Bell, Pierce Spurlin, Lad Mc. No, I got to give one to Rara Thomas.
Why? Because of that catch?
Yes.
The contortionist?
That was beautiful. Plus, again, this is a guy who, before the season started, they're like, man, y'all don't understand what Georgia's got in Rara. I'm like, okay. And then we didn't hear about him like a whole lot in the
well, we did hear about him in the offseason. It just wasn't good news.
Yeah, well, no, I'm talking about in the scrimmages.
Right.
Oh, well, he didn't do much, and then you didn't see the first few games. Like, oh, he transferred from Mississippi State for this, And I'm like, I'm telling you, if you talk to people who go to practice, they're like, this kid is insane. They're like, Dominic Lovett too. You've got you lost Jermaine Burton, you lost A.D. Mitchell, but the guys you replaced him with, these guys on the edge, they're monsters. And he went up and had some 50-50 balls. Kirby Smart called him out after the game for some of the catches he had. He is rounding into the guy that he was at Mississippi State. And to be able to get it was one of the first plays, Rara and Dominic on the same side, one blocking for the other. They got a first down out of it. I'm like, ooh, this is – think about it. You have those two guys on one side, and then you have Lad McConkey and Brock Bowers on the other. And when they stack those two guys on one side, if the safety goes after one, they throw to the other. If the safety runs with Lad McConkey down there, they throw to Brock Bowers. If the safety doubles up Brock, they throw to Lad McConkey. It's death on whatever side they're on. And then they're like, okay, well, we're going to try to put an extra body over that way. Now you have Rara and Dominic on the other side. Come on, man. It's nasty what they can do. So Rara definitely gets one for what he did. And then I'm with you got to give one to Carson Beck. I mean, almost 400 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yep. Good pick. Those good picks. Real quick, JT, man, appreciate the 5. 23 in a row. Got to appreciate Kirby Smart. Go Dogs.
Oh, we're going to go 3-4 hours if we keep getting these, Paul.
No, that's not what this means.
Great promoting.
All brought his lunch.
That's not what this means. So my first dog bone, Dumas Johnson, man.
Yeah.
People hated on him last week. Called for his head.
Last week, like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the people called for his head, and today comes out. They only credit him with 1.5 sacks. Should have a full 2.
No, he got hit at the same time on that first one.
Fair enough. But realistically, second on the team in tackles with 4. Second on the team in solo tackles with 3. That's also crazy to me. Georgia only as a team only had 38 tackles. That's probably the lowest we'll see all season. Just means Kentucky didn't have the ball much.
Dude, that first half, Georgia had the ball forever.
Right, and Malachi Starks was the leader on the defensive side of the ball with 5 tackles. But Dumas Johnson gets one for bouncing back. And then you guys have taken some really good ones on the offensive side of the ball. Brock already has his golden bone, so there's no sense in giving it to him. You know what? Kendall Milton.
Hey, that run before his touchdown.
Yeah, 8 rushes, 47 yards, had the touchdown, but just getting him back, getting him healthy, man. I don't know if we expected him to fully be healthy again. Like, we've seen him injured for so long. It's like, man, what can this guy do if he comes back? And who's to say he's fully healthy? He might be at damn 95%. But just to see him back out there, it adds a different element to this team. It helps Dejon tremendously get some reps off. Kendall's a different type of runner than Dejon is. So you have that, aspect of it. So Kendall Milton and Dumas Johnson, 2 guys who have been crapped on a little bit recently, both come back and silence the critics, if you will.
Well, I'm not done giving them out, so I don't know what your issue is.
Oh, you've got more. Okay.
I got more. Chaz Chambliss.
Ooh.
Now that first drive, people like
I considered it.
He took a bad angle. Guy got to the outside of him. Okay. Knocking down passes, a tackle for loss. I mean, I thought the pass breakup was huge. I thought the tackle for loss was big. How many 3 tackles?
Yeah.
Again, a guy who has weathered and been crapped on a lot, but that's on defense. And then I mean, you nailed some guys on defense played really well. Kamari Lasser back-to-back bat down or plays on the on that goal. Sideline route. That was great, but I'm not giving him one because I think we've given him plenty. But give me the Georgia offensive line. They can share it. A lot of them. But, I mean, Xavier Truss
really just
killing people. Tate Ratledge with a huge pickup on a pull. They ran power one time. He came around and just killed him. Cedric Van Pran gets hurt.
Back.
Sit him for the rest of the time. He comes back out there, starts running people down. Jared Wilson gets into his place. They not a snap over the head. Some low snaps, but still they get it done. Ernest Green takes on big number 0, Deion Walker from he lines up over in the 5 technique, and Ernest Green just stonewalls him. And then Micah Morris, playing over that. Pretty sure he was left guard today, was he not?
Yeah, he was. Fairchild was in a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think of. I know Fairchild came in, but I wasn't sure when he got in. So, but yeah, that offensive line, they did everything they wanted to do. Quarterback needs time to throw. We got that. Hey, we're running power. We're running counters. We're running inside zone. Cap scheme. Hey, we're all blocking down. They ran it all, and it was how many? I don't know how many negative plays Georgia had. But the one thing you can't do against a Kentucky defense, same thing you can't do against Georgia defense, is get behind the sticks. And they just did not. They got a couple penetrations into the backfield, but nothing like what we've seen in the past. So I thought the offensive line, again, you can give out 5, you can give out 1, and they can share it.
And what are you listening to? And what are you listening to? It sounds like you're listening to paid programming right now.
No, I'm not listening to anything.
I'm doing a podcast.
No, but I was going to ask a question. When Radi brought up the offensive line, is there any – because I haven't checked it. Is there any timetable for Amarius Mims' recovery? Because if he gets back, that offensive line could be on the next level.
I would not say Florida because that's in 3 weeks. But 2 weeks ago, he was on a cart. Last time I saw him, he was in a boot. I don't know if he's taken the boot off, but he's not on that little cart, that you put your knee on and you go clash, you drive that thing around. So
he was walking on the sidelines today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That today he's walking. So, but again, he might have been wearing a boot. He may not have. But even if he is, it's the same thing. Who got their first snaps today? Lawson Lucky and Pierce Spurlin.
Yeah.
Pierce was banged up. Lawson had the tightrope surgery. We heard it. I think we broke the news that Lawson got hurt early on. He did the tightrope surgery out 4 to 6 weeks. They did the tightrope surgery immediately on Amarius Mims, and he's already, I'll say maybe a third of the way, halfway here. And at the same time, he's not a guy who has to plant and cut like, Lawson Lucky does. They can just wrap that thing up, So, he's got to push off on it. He's got to be an offensive lineman, but it's a little bit easier for him to come back from that. So, again, there's also more weight on it because he's 6'8". He's a giant human being. But that's a guy that, he'll be back this year. He'll be – Coach Donna had a good point. Look, he said, well, it also depends on what his talks are like with his agent.
Yeah, he's not lying.
There have been guys. This happened with people want to say it did not happen with Jalen Carter. It did. If you are a first-round draft pick and they're like, hey, hurry up and get back so we can use you, you're like, you don't go without me.
Happened with Jamie Newman, brother.
Yeah.
Oh.
LS gave us $5. He paid for his dog bones. If anybody else wants to pay for their dog bones, because we have run out of money because Radi decided to give the entire O-line.
Oh, Jagger Burton, I'd give him a golden bone. He gave Georgia 30 yards of offense.
We did.
And he dropped Tommy Elbow on Zion Logue, or who did he land on? Warren Brinson. He knocked it down.
Logue was one. He landed on Logue once.
And then landed on Logue with this damn people's elbow bullshit that just was. I'm like, dude, and I tweeted, throw his ass out of the game. And I get they were going to be dirty, but
I'll tell you, the D lineman Walker, that was one of the dumbest penalties I've ever seen in my life. The ball was dead for 5 seconds. You just knocked the guy over.
He was frustrated.
That wasn't even like a flop by Van Pran. He just got bulldozed over, and the play was clearly dead. Like, that's the dumbest penalty, one of them that I've ever seen.
He was frustrated. LS says Walker caught that edge. Insane. He got off as crazy. I think he could end up leading the team in sacks by the end of the season. So LS gave his $5 sticker helmet bone to Jalen Walker. That's a good one. Walker looked good.
Well, if he doesn't get held.
Yeah, Walker looked good.
Oh, man. Back-to-back plays.
Yeah.
Again,
you think he starts to see
more
time?
Potential this team has. And again, we haven't even seen, Damon Wilson get out there, Sam Mpemba, AJ Harris, CJ Smith was out there a little bit. CJ Allen was out there playing early, that inside linebacker. But CJ Smith played so much. There's so much talent out there. But getting healthy and kind of consolidating some of those snaps, this team is. I mean, who do you see on the schedule? I mean, we didn't know that Kentucky would be this tough, but Georgia's looking really damn good, and I'm not seeing anybody on the schedule that you need to be that nervous about. I mean, they come in and do some damage. Missouri could be pretty good, but Jesus, I mean,
we talked about that earlier in the show. That there's a couple of teams, right? So Mizzou could be scary. They have a running quarterback type,
especially after the last year.
But you saw
Luther Burton.
Luther Burton looks really good.
He's good. That's a miss that Georgia had him.
That and Caleb Williams are going to be the two that haunt you until they're gone. Not Caleb Williams, Caleb Downs.
Caleb Downs, yeah. Tennessee, I think, is still a tough game because it's in Neyland.
That's a good point.
At that point, they're going to be living to crush Georgia. Like, that's going to be their season at that point.
I'd say Ole Miss is the toughest.
And then Ole Miss is a sneaky one, right? Can they play defense? Maybe
week
not.
To week, you don't know with them.
Yeah, but if Carson Beck can light you up for 389 and 4 touchdowns, I don't think Ole Miss can touch this team. So, I think looking forward, if you're asking me, is there a single digit spread looking forward?
That's a fair question. Yeah.
Tennessee, maybe.
Tennessee, because it's on the road, but I think Ole Miss is
11-12.
Yeah, but that's the only one I can think of that will even be.
Do you trust Joe Milton at all?
No.
No. He can throw the ball 70 yards.
Yeah,
but he'll throw a 10-yard pass like it's 70 yards.
He's like Uncle Rico. He can throw it over the mountains. But
did you see the clip of he was at like the Barstool headquarters and they were like away from each other and like just playing catch, threw the ball hard and like broke a computer or something. He threw like a rocket at him. I was like, okay, he throws every ball like it's a 40-yard pass. Can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the only game, though. The rest of these look pretty easy. Larry Glover says, guys, Tennessee.
Watch out for Tech, man. They beat Miami.
Trying to checker the stadium against Georgia.
Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, Radi, you still need to go. I can't put it up here because we'll get the whole video demonetized because of that. But
dude, we don't make anything on this video as it is.
Hey, calm down, all right?
Well, hey, to be fair, though, we do get paid by the Rogue Shop, and I don't want to mention them real quick.
Absolutely.
Because this is cool. Look at this thing that they got.
They got
Rogue Shop trick-or-treat gummies.
Oh, a little sample pack, if you will.
Yeah, the Delta 8. Check them out. Pack includes 1 slap your mama, 1 sour green apple, 1 sour pomegranate, 4 mixed watermelon. Look at it.
Hey, it's pretty cheap too. $16.99.
Yeah. So if you want to try some of their gummies from our friends at the Rogue Shop, like, dude, it's in time for Halloween. That's what you want on Halloween, baby.
Whew.
Little kids running around. You
pop
stand out here on the front porch and give out candy to these idiots. Look, you get these out, and of course, it says 21 and over. You see it there, but get the mega gummies, green crack bites. So, and that's the Delta 9 stuff. That's a little bit different than Delta 8. You go on their site and explain the differences there. But and of course, if you have any sort of chronic pain, the guys at the Rogue Shop can get you covered. If you're an insomniac like my poor aunt, they have their nighttime medications that you should take. You know, so they'll say night use here. So the Delta 8 for a very potent sleeping aid for chronic pain. They have the 275 milligrams. I'll put you right out. The 125 that'll mess you up too. Look, try the 50 and have a half one. You know, work your way up to 275 so you don't die. Okay. But then here the Delta, perfect thing. If you never had one, get the Delta 8 lollipops, 50 milligrams. Have a little sugar with it. That's exactly what you need. So try use promo code Bulldogs10 to get 10% off from our friends at the Rogue Shop. And again, when I talked to Richard, he's a giant college football fan. But his team, Texas.
Not
good today. Oklahoma today, baby.
Hey, I can guarantee he took one of them 275s and he's not awake right now. He is knocked out.
I don't know. You might need it.
Paul, I don't think you can make Texas number one anymore.
No.
So I think at this point, like the thing I was telling Eddie last week, I think Georgia at this point is number one. Maybe Washington, but
here's the thing with Richard and Texas. You know, he loves Georgia too, and he'll call me, and he knows Georgia's roster like anybody else. I mean, the guy, he loves Georgia. He's like, I'll root for Georgia all the time unless they're playing Texas. And I'm like, I was teasing him. I'm like, hey, maybe they meet in the playoffs. He's like, oh yeah, you know, we'll do some sort of special. But I know he's crushed today, but I guarantee you, he watched the Georgia game and he was happy that Georgia pulled it out, you know, or blew their doors off. So, because I mean, he'll text me after the Georgia Auburn game. He's like, glad they got through that one. You know, that was nervous wracking. You know, and he'll talk specifics. He played ball. He was also in the military. So, again, this is all stuff that he makes. So it's not like some giant corporation out there trying to. This is a mom and pop operation. He and his wife will come on the show. He'll tell you about making lollipops earlier in the day. So it's handmade, and that's why we trust him. That's why we love him. So reach out to those guys at the Rogue Shop when you get a chance.
You want to go around the league, Roddy?
Yeah, because I don't know what happened.
Yeah, let's take a little trip around the league if we don't. As we wrap up here on this glorious Sunday morning.
I might have some more helmet stickers to give out.
We have run out of budget on that. We are completely out. You gave literally the whole offensive line a helmet sticker. Alabama sneaked away against Texas A&M 26-20. So Alabama
really is that close?
Yeah, and Texas A&M.
I mean, I know Texas A&M was leading because I went on national radio. I'm like, Max Johnson is going to make Texas A&M different.
And he tried. He tried his best.
He tried. He was all right.
But that Alabama is now first in the SEC West. We knew that was coming, right? Even after the loss to Texas, we knew that they would bounce back. So you have them. Ole Miss squeaked out a victory against Arkansas, 27-20. And I don't think Pittman's. Let's see.
LSU Missouri was a game.
Oh, your boy Jackson Dart, 16-25, only 153 and 1 touchdown. So they limited Jackson Dart, and I'm sure Kirby's going to be calling Sam Pittman asking for a extended game tape on this one here because they were able to lock him down. Ole Miss did win, though. Then LSU Missouri, that was a game. Missouri had that one for a while, and it was only a 3-point game until –
That's a bad beat.
Yeah, they decided to throw that pick six right there at the end. So – and LSU covered. So
LSU covered because of that pick six, like 10 seconds.
LSU dropped 22 points in the fourth quarter to win that game. So they're 3-1. They still have a chance to win the SEC West because they still have to play Alabama. So could still see Jaden Daniels, which would be a real threat. A lot of teams off this week, though, so only 2 more games left. Mississippi State 41-28 over Western Michigan. And then Florida revenges after last year against Vanderbilt. They won 38-14. So go ahead, Florida. Go ahead. Do your thing. Florida's I was gonna say decent, but dude, I'll tell you what is decent. Graham Mertz's completion percentage. The man went today 30 of 36.
He's a decent quarterback.
He just throws little dump off passes, but I guarantee you his completion percentage is one of the tops in the nation. It was that crazy number before today's game, and then he goes 30 of 36. That's even crazier. So yeah, wasn't a huge league SEC. And then if we go around just the top 25 real quick, see if anything stood out. USC is finally got the lead against Arizona heading into the fourth quarter. Obviously, Oklahoma over Texas was a big one. Maryland hung with Ohio State for a little while. Ohio State eventually pulled away 37-17. And then Florida State still undefeated, beat Virginia Tech. North Carolina still undefeated, beat Syracuse. They got that wide receiver back too. Mike Honcho.
Who got eligibility?
Yeah, the Tez
or the
Walker.
waiver, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and then Michigan, they put up 1 point more than Georgia did, 52-10.
New number one team.
New number one, got to be right. That's them.
I want to see how many people who are tweeting Georgia ain't got it this year. Blah blah blah. How many of the people going back and deleted those things? And I'm like, dude, don't delete them. You were right. I mean, the Georgia team last year wouldn't trail 14-3 at South Carolina. But this team is capable of doing, being last year's team. It's, well, you're never going to have that. You can't replace Jalen Carter. You can't replace Darnell Washington, but you could win as many games. Is my point. So
right.
Yeah, they're not as good as they were last year. Nobody is, so you can still win a title.
Yeah.
But you also have ridiculous potential because you have these young pups coming up who are badass. Again, you're not even using people talking about Jalen Walker in the comments there. Just he's not even out there all the time now. CJ Allen, CJ Smith, AJ Harris. There's a lot of young talent that are coming up. Dalen Everett's just going to get better. Your secondary is disgusting. So it's you should win your games. So.
Two of the touchdowns for Michigan since they did score 52 were on the defensive side of the ball. They didn't put up a ton of yards on the offensive side of the ball. 241 passing, 191 on the ground. So it wasn't some huge offensive explosion from Michigan like it was for Georgia. So just to leave that out there.
And to be fair, Georgia's, Georgia pulled its starters.
Yeah, before
a little bit longer. But hey, shout out for Brock Vandegrift.
Yeah, look good. You want to give him a helmet sticker?
Yeah, actually, I would.
If Dame was on here, Cash Jones would get the bone every week.
Whoa.
Hey. Family show now. Family show.
Hey.
Come on now.
Damn. What a way. Roddy, I think that covers it for me unless you got something else, boss.
No, that's it, man. It's 1:09 in the morning. I look forward to tomorrow's show with you guys. Are y'all go at 7:30 or 8?
Yeah, we're gonna go 7:30. We haven't switched officially to 8. We can switch to 8, but we can.
Oh, Paul,
usually I'm having all of our shows go at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So
what time's the Braves game?
They don't play tomorrow. They play Monday.
Oh,
I thought they went back to back.
I thought they did too.
Baseball's not a good sport to watch day for us, but it was not a good.
Yeah, Ben.
You don't want to go up against the NFL.
I'm an Orioles guy, and you're a Braves guy, but we're in the same camp. You cannot allow a Philadelphia-Houston World Series again. That cannot happen.
Hey, you got to do your job over there in the AL.
Trending that way, sadly.
Come on, man.
Hey, everybody, we appreciate you guys watching us a ton. This show is made for you guys and all of the comments, everybody that called in. You guys make the show. Roddy and I can do our best here to try to carry it, but it's all of y'all that comment and stay with us for 2.5 hours. So we appreciate it. Before you leave out, if you could share this video, because I know if you're still watching, you're already subscribed. I don't even have to ask you to do that. And if you could, leave a like on the video. It helps out tremendously to get this to other folks. And, who knows? We'll have some new callers next week. Every week there's more. So next week, Vandy game is at noon. That means we'll start at 3:30 and we'll be going till about 10 p.m. Foster Moss, just for you. So we'll talk to you next week. For Ryan Nabulsi, Ben Bachman, Dan Young, the doctor, everybody, Jason Butt from UGAsports.com. I'm Paul Maharry. We'll see you. Thank you so much.